All right, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Anarchy. Mwah. Coming at you with another Church of MHA, Season 5, Episode 3, Chapter 413 of My Hero Academia live reaction. Hope you guys have been doing well. I know it's been a while since we've seen each other, so I hope things have been going well for you guys. I'm excited because I'll be honest with you, as we've gotten closer to the end of the series, people have gotten vaguer and vaguer with their posts, which means I've seen at least one image from this chapter that is raw. It's amazing. So it's peak fiction. So I'm looking forward to getting that in. It's okay. It's okay. We're having fun, Genie. Precious Genie Bean. Yeah. Say, I'm a little baby. Mm. You okay? We good? Yeah, we good. So yeah, we can get back to business. You ready to get back to business, Genie? So yeah, let's start talking to the people in the chat that have started coming in. If I'm lucky, Thomas will post the link, or Easter, somebody will post the link to the stream in the Discord. Oh my lord, why am I struggling to get back to the live chat? Man uninstalls his mouse and just starts having all kinds of issues. All right, we got Cameron Bailey, we got J. Michael Holmes, Mr. Andrew Bailey, Brandon De La Cruz, MK the Baby, Devontae Kemp, Simo Geo4. Part of me really just wants to call you Simon a lot of the times. Tiger Blaster. All right. You know what? I think it's time to go ahead and get right into the chapter. See, apparently, is no. This is for Elusive Samurai. You know what? Good on Elusive Samurai. I don't see anybody ever talk about this series, but it's thriving in Japan. That's we'll give it that. And let's see, 413 next chapter, February 12th. All right, so we got a break coming. Oh, okay. So we're starting off with getting another shot of Cassie, which this looks like an alternate view, which means a new angle within the flashback. It's a new art. We see All Might's consciousness, Cassie, the ripped apart off one chest, going deeper into this psyche. And then Cassie reaching out to All Might. Master, there's a forlorn little boy inside there. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see what that says. Does it say I? Yeah, it does say I. All right. All Might, you will meet your end should you drift off now. Remain conscious. Without an earpiece, I do not know the latest news, but Midoriya is likely still battering. A dream? No, I know this sensation, just like back then. Even this far apart, I can feel one for all. Its very will finds its way to me. Hey, Genie. That power we spun together bit by bit is coming unraveled. What the hell was that? How could she be floating through my head? You should have been totally obliterated. As long as people stand up to save each other, someone will inherit that will of heroism. Dead and gone yet, your embers dare to haunt me. Princess Fussy Butt. Let's see, he's gotten smacked a bit away. You can be a hero. What do you mean I have to part ways with one for all? Why? Explain it to me. Second, calm your heart or else you'll catch wind. That dark mass within Shigaraki, solid as a ball of lead. It's made of every little kernel of anger within him, his frustration, his discontent, and his memories too. Yeah. Oh, okay. You can have my headphones for now. You can have them. Um, all were drawn together. into a single united mass. It represents his unshakable resolve, a spirit solidified by raw hatred. However, Yagi noticed a rift. What you yelling about? Hmm? What you yelling about? It's likely a scar from his battle against Star and Stripe. Not a physical scar, but a mental one that refuses to be healed up by his regeneration. What's that got to do with One for All? Now that he's absorbed All for One, Shigaraki is far too powerful. You don't stand a chance pitting strength against strength, so we attack from within. The transfer of One for All will smash at that scar. We'll pry it open and give his soul a direct beating. The transfer will smash the scar? How? Hold on, none of this makes any sense. Transferring One for All will just give him our powers to wield, like how he already absorbed Shinomori. I'm using a broader meaning of transfer here. Try to keep up. A visualization to get the gist. The microwave, egg in the microwave comes back finally. Sure. I've got just the right analogy. When that childhood friend of yours hands you things, how does he do it? And we get a shot of Bakugo slapping him with a notebook. The right sort of transfer can wound. It can even break the thing being passed. We're putting that idea into practice with One for All itself. But frankly, there's no guarantee it'll work, so I'll be the test run. Remember how only Shinomori was stolen away earlier? If one piece of the whole can be stolen, that suggests that we can also transfer a single piece at a time. We're the factors that were incorporated into One for All. That makes us components of the overall quirk, but also special powered up factors in our own right. Throw me at him hard enough that I shatter into nothing, and I'll serve as an attack without even giving him control over my power. As a test run, though, like, use me and my smokescreen instead. I'm the most useless right now. No, start with me. But gear shift is the cornerstone of this fight. What if this doesn't go as planned, and then Shigaraki has your power on his side? Listen, if we don't act now, the boy's dead. Part ways with gear shift, and you'll be free of the crippling recoil too. Even if by some horrible miracle he can make use of me, the backlash you're feeling right now should transfer to him as well. Leader, I've been with you every step of the way, but this just seems too risky. Like I said, it's a bet, a gamble. We lived through cruel times, to say the least. When up against the wall, we had to make plenty of callous judgment calls. Nothing could be crueler than this current reality. But even so, this boy refuses to throw in the towel. I want to believe he's got the right idea. Getting all this help from you all night. I've been blessed. Even at this late hour, it's not that he's reluctant to relinquish power, nor does he fear death. You trying to get the headphones on? Okay, let's take a second to look at the chat while you be a little baby. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Come back after a year and this man got a baby. Gear shift is finally taking effect. Yep. All right. Wait, out of curiosity, KJ, are you the top lane tsundere I ran into in the Kiana mains Reddit? Let's see, as an irreplaceable gift. All right, so no matter how impossibly daunting a mission he's been charged with, Toshinori, even after coming this far, he still regards One for All. Take this to heart, kid. You've earned this power, fair and square, as an irreplaceable gift and blessing from the hero he admires most. What you muttering about down there? Banjo, you stick with the boy to the end. Your black whip is what'll keep him alive. Hey, watch over him. Yes, my hero. Now we just have to hear it from you, Izuku Midoriya. What do you say? I'll do it. Yeesh. Look at you. I can tell you're reinforcing your tendons and muscles from the inside. It's clear enough since those black coils show right through your skin. I'd never guess you were a hero. Yo, the claws, the extra little bit of one for all focus there. I don't know how I feel about him having to like fire off rounds of one for all into Shigaraki. But what I do know is that I agree with N 100%. I think he should launch N first. Um, no, she doesn't have a mullet. She just has curly hair on top. And babies scratch their sides a lot when they're teething, so she's pulled out more of her side hair than her top hair. Um, Hot take, but I don't care about the vestiges. This is why we should have gotten chapters on them. So I personally, I feel like I care about certain vestiges a lot more than others. So as mean as it is to say, the vestige I think most of us value the most is Banjo and Nana, where Shinomori was a dude whose lore was I hung out in the woods and trained. There was nothing interesting we could have got out of Shinomori. Hence why Shinomori was the first one to get yeeted and deleted. Uh, N was Banjo's student, so that makes him slightly more interesting than um, Shinomori, but no. And then I would say most of us agree that like the second and third users go under Banjo and Nana for intrigue because of their militant style, like what they went through, just what the world was like back then. Of course, the first users in there as well. So my thing with this is that ultimately, if he launches N there, cool. I don't like the idea of getting rid of the second or third though, because like they said, they feel like the linchpins to this fight. Because Fajin is a little too powerful, and Gear Shift, while it does have that blowback, Shigaraki getting if he gets to utilize Gear Shift, which obviously if Horikoshi is really going to have Deku sacrifice Gear Shift, it's not going to go down that way. Obviously, like he's not going to let Shigaraki have that power. That power is too cracked. Um, like too cracked. Letting Shigaraki move at 120% efficiency is just too much to deal with for Deku, especially if he loses the ability to move at 120%. But passing it along, the second user throughout this final act has been the most direct mentorship that Deku has been getting from a one for all user. So I don't like the idea of the main strategist of the Vestiges, uh, and I don't like the idea of the person who's been functioning as a mentor the most. I don't like the idea of the Phantom. What's up? Good morning, True Star. The person who had activated that trauma within All for One the most being gone, unless we get a couple more flashbacks around them. Because if we can get a couple more flashbacks centered around some of these characters as they get launched off into the sun, that's a little better. But I don't want to utilize them that way. Um, and I do think it'd be a little unfortunate to hold out on getting so much information on these characters up until where is that damn button? There it is. Why does that always vanish? Copy invite link. Yeah. Because like, yes, Deku's a strategist. Yes, Deku in theory could come up with some of these combos himself, but that veterancy is important. It's kind of like uh when you look at sports, for example, a lot of times they're like, yeah, we want somebody with veteran leadership, blah blah blah. You kind of need that on this roster. And I do like that we had it emphasized that Banjo is the one who's staying the longest. Banjo is the first vestige we got access to. Banjo was the one that a lot of people's attachment to Nana isn't a byproduct of her being a vestige within One for All. Good morning, Tunisia. It's a byproduct of her being tied to the Shigaraki story, her being All Might Sensei, all that other good stuff. We can always get more Nana Shimura content just via her connections to other characters. I'm not really worried about losing Nana Shimura.
You're not?
In the case of all these other ones, there's some story that I kind of want. With Banjo specifically, we know that he like fought One for All or off one straight up at one point. Also, if we're completely honest, of the characters we've seen, he probably had the best shot of beating him, not counting in that Nana's One for All would have been stronger than the one that he had access to, just based off his quirk. No? Okay. But
Hanaki.
and I don't think Shigaraki takes everything from Deku without dying.
What's up, y'all?
Because we know that quirk rebellions are entirely possible. We saw that even though Cassie is supposed to be gone, there's still some trace of her in there, which means that whatever she did was able to make it so that not only did she not end up beholden to All for One as a quirk, but she's able to exist within that space separately. We already saw Hawks lead a rebellion within the quirks vestige space, and Shigaraki is even more unstable. So the second, really, as soon as like 2 or 3 quirks get in there,
No, don't worry.
it's Thomas talking.
Yeah, I am. Hello.
Okay. My daughter has my headset, so I can't hear.
I'll never forgive him for
How
this.
do I get around this? Because she's gonna fuss, fuss, fuss. Can I get this back? Can I get this back, little baby? Yeah. We'll give you this back, and mommy gives you the headphones that are broken. Yeah, and those are pink.
Oh, this is so adorable. I can't. My heart is going to explode.
Yeah. Yeah. These headphones.
Hello.
Now I can hear you.
It's all good. How are you?
I'm all right.
That's great to hear.
The fam. All right. So what were you saying, Thomas?
Oh, I just said hello.
Okay.
I will say I wasn't here for the past 2 streams.
Yeah, I know.
But MHA has been on fire recently. And let me send Joseph the link as well. Because I don't think he's in Avengers.
Is he not? I thought I added him. I must be a bozo.
I don't think so.
Let me fix that.
But man, how do you feel about because I know you mentioned in the stream that you're not a fan of just yeeting quirks as Shigaraki. Do you think that that what they're theorizing has waste that'll actually shatter All for One?
So I do think that there's some merit to it because it's basically like instead of it being you took me in like willingly through those pathways and blew like and then you went on a rampage, it's you came in like a bullet, destroyed my pathways and hit that core more. But I also think that what that's ultimately going to do is destabilize Shigaraki's mental, which I think
Hmm.
is actually important to him being able to maintain that body of his as well as that body of his as well as controlling the work. So I don't think it's impossible to destabilize and do that.
Hmm.
But I just think that it's a little um ultimately I want Deku to still get to be able to fight.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
there's more than one version of being a hero, but I want Deku to still be able to fight at the end of the series.
I mean, from what we can tell in this
I just
chapter,
think
it does
that it's
seem
a
like
little
Deku will still keep one for all because like what the second
ultimately I
user
want Deku to
said,
still get to be able to fight.
Banjo needs to stay behind,
Yes, there's
right?
more than one version of being a hero. Well, but I
Oh,
want Deku to still be able to fight. What's up, Joseph? At the end
hey
of the
Joseph.
series. I mean,
Hey, can you hear me?
chapter, it does
Yes,
seem
yeah,
like
we can hear you.
Deku will
I
still
can't
be
hear
ourselves too, though.
because yeah, we can hear ourselves.
What the second user said.
There we
Oh,
go.
So I'm hoping that Banjo just gets to be his last buddy that like
Yes.
tags along at the very least. I also think this is a good solution to the fact that Deku with 100% one for all is still going to be pretty cracked.
Hmm.
Um, and Gear Shift is a reality warping quirk basically. So if we want to tone down Deku a bit, that's fine.
Hmm.
So I made a realization while reading this chapter of the
Hmm.
vestiges and is the Yamcha.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also,
Like,
I don't know if you could tell from the last page, which by the way, really sick, the Carnage reference basically, but
I'm budgeting for the
uh
inevitable figure.
me too. But in the scans, obviously you get the notes, the comments.
Yeah, the editor
It
comment,
says
yeah.
puppeteering his own body with Black Whip. So Deku's gonna be moving using Black Whip because he can breathe currently, which I think is really really cool. It just shows that Black Whip is his best quirk aside from One for All.
no, Black Whip is cracked, and I've always liked this ability. I think I don't know for you guys, but the first time I've encountered that kind of ability was when, as Thomas's people would say, I was a wee lad, and
Back in my day.
and Uryu used the strings after being poisoned. Hey, hey, hey.
Oh.
What's your rebellion about, huh? State your
Oh.
case. State your case, little baby.
Hey, Coyote.
What's good, gang?
What up, Coyote? I'm
What's
negotiating with
good?
a terrorist. What's up?
Why? Why you negotiating with Thomas?
Hey, relax. I am part of the IRA. Relax. Not yet.
Yet.
I ain't got my
Yeah, not
mommy.
yet. Yeah, I sure do love carboning. Um,
It's a great shot.
let me see
Wait,
what the chat's been saying.
Thomas, you do know that we have a shot in the U.S. serve that's called an Irish carbine?
Yeah, I know. I heard of it when I was in New York. There was like this really nice pub called Fulce, which means welcome. Uh, it was pretty good.
Oh, you had it?
Yeah,
He was like, for my people.
for my people.
I guess this is acceptable.
But what were you gonna say? You mentioned Uryu from Bleach.
Yeah, Uryu from Bleach is one of the first characters I encountered making themselves move because he was using the strings made of reishi in
Hmm.
his fight against Kurotsuchi during the Soul Society arc. And I always thought, damn, that's like awesome. And like, being older, I'm like, that is an insanely great way to like showcase determination and power utilization plus technique. Because like people always get like technique and power confused, and I like
Hmm.
abilities like this because it just really shows an understanding of like that abstractness of the power, because you're effectively taking what is like a sixth limb, sixth instrument, whatever you want to call it, and then using it to manipulate a bunch of other things. So
It's kind of like Vestiges in a way.
yeah, like I always like that extra finesse, like when you can, because it's kind of like if you've ever even tried to puppeteer something, you're like, okay, that's difficult. But then
Mhm.
you look at the motions they're making and like the nuance to effectively moving like a normal person
Mhm.
while doing this, and it's like, no, that's some because it's like learning how to walk a second time.
Mhm.
It's something that you don't think of, or like it's a concept that most of us hopefully will never have to deal with that, but it's just something that's really cool. Uh, what chapter was that? Ooh, for
Well, it
Udi
was during
versus
the Soul
Udatsuchi.
Society arc, so
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what
pretty
the fuck?
early. I know that, but not too early. Uh, shit, maybe
Yeah.
around the 110 area. Now I gotta look. Y'all know you can't ask me what chapter something was in, and I'm not gonna look for it. Like,
Yeah, well, I know like
Hey, relax, Salome.
from my reading of Bleach that like the first like 52 chapters or so were the more
not a coup d'etat.
episodic, what I like to call the magical girl arc.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the total setup of a magical girl series, you have to admit, and it's just it's neat to see it with gender flips basically, but
Look, they're
so
Barbie
they
girls.
yeah they even got the Ichigo even had the special stuffed animal that was actually alive, well, sort of.
Yo, Thomas, you see what Salome said?
I saw, that's why I said relax. I also looked
Relax.
at Brendan said that he loves how Horikoshi made Deku Spider-Man. I mean, he took Danger Sense, so he's half Spider-Man right now.
Look,
And last
I'm
time I
okay with
checked,
that.
Spider-Man can reinforce his body using Black Whip and give him really dope scars. Because
It's
the face
more like,
scars he has is
wouldn't it be more like Venom
amazing.
then? Because the symbiote can.
Yes.
Yeah, no, he's more that I immediately thought of Venom when I was
Mhm.
looking at him, and I was like, oh yeah, this is more like
Yeah, the last panel reminds me of Carnage too.
so. Which I still appreciate the aesthetic. I like the vibe that he's going with here.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Deku using Black Whip on any panel is usually a godly panel.
Mhm.
Like Black Whip is one of his best quirks just purely off of aesthetics.
I
Absolutely.
can't even disagree.
I
It's
I do want to ask, like, how do you guys feel about Star? Because I missed out on last week's reaction.
People were saying that Star was gonna give her quirk to Deku or some shit. And I'm like, why did you ever think that?
I don't like I mean, I'm not against the theory 100%. I'm not gonna downplay it, but I never saw that actually happening, aside from her helping during this fight, and she is
so
currently helping.
I want to see what the direction is with it, because it did feel like that. Like the only issue I had is that it seemed like that was a little too cracked to be
Hmm.
um allowed. Like it
Yes.
almost feels illegal for Deku to be that strong. Um, illegal narratively, not.
Hmm. I mean,
Because you could
she's
argue, like,
in All for One, not One for All. So I don't
yeah,
think Hori will, transfer a quirk from one place to another in that way.
the
Obviously, we're
only thing
getting.
that oh, okay,
No, no,
that
continue. I paused.
that creates a rule like is if he's allowed to just like inject one for all into people as an attack, then I could see the rules getting blurred, because at that point, um, we're kind of changing the rules of how the quirk is used to how the
Yeah.
transfer is, all that other stuff, where you're creating a vacuum, and you could argue that maybe one for all gains the ability to kind of grab other quirks as a means to restock ammo almost.
Hmm.
Um, but even then, that feels kind of like a stretch made just
Yeah.
so. Um, it's like at that point, then you don't need to go through with this outside of maybe just wanting to rotate what perks Deku actually
Hmm.
has access to.
I do think that, like, I don't think we'll ever get like what you said, where One for All could always just, stock, like take
Mhm.
stock and put it back in, like just in case like it loses another quirk. but like at that point it becomes all for one version 2 instead of one for all. Like it makes sense that Deku could pass on forcefully a quirk, because one for all is about giving. And about taking, it's about giving. So it makes sense that case. I just don't see why Deku would need Star Stripes quirk. Like he doesn't need New Order to defeat Shigaraki.
And we've already seen that if he hits Shigaraki or if he throws big attacks at Shigaraki, he's borderline vaporizing the man's limbs.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's one of those like, yeah, Shigaraki's kind of cracked. He has a lot of abilities, but ultimately, Deku just needs to hit him once
Yeah.
in the right spot.
It's been proven.
It's kind of
Shigaraki even
joking.
acknowledges that, like, hey, if you weren't going to save me, you could have killed me right then.
Yeah, man. Deku's fucking busted. And I don't know, some people disagree with Deku not being able to kill Shigaraki entirely, even if he went all out right now. And I can kind of see the points because they always point to regen because they still don't know how it operates. And I kind of think it's as long as you just destroy the head, you're fine. But some people don't see it that way, apparently.
I think it's
My
more the
stance on
brain than the
this-
head.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like
Okay.
I think if you just destroy the frontal lobe, then you're just chilling.
My stance on this is kind of there isn't a character in this series that could survive the World Heroes treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. The United States of World Smash.
Like not even just the preemptive barrage to that smash.
Yes, absolutely.
Deku was
That's
just
the startup.
Hey, good morning,
I'm
guys.
left. I'm right.
What up,
What's
Seth?
good,
Hey,
Goat?
Seth.
How you doing,
Yo.
Goat?
Actually, I got a new arm for my microphone, so is my voice coming in okay? Is
Yeah.
it-
Yeah,
Okay,
coming great. You sound
Sounds
good.
perfect.
All right, perfect.
great.
All right, that's a good
Took
distance
long way
then.
from the trunk
Yo.
of his car.
Man, I should probably invest in something like that. Like I got it's a USB mic on a little stand that I got on a stack of coasters.
It's so real though.
Yeah, well, slowly and surely, I'm making some investments here and there to get into, streaming content and such. So,
Oh yeah.
That'd be so
my stand
dope.
is nice, and I
Yeah,
have my
and I can
monitors
pass
mounted
one for
now,
all to
so
you.
I'm feeling pretty good with this setup. So this chapter, though,
Let's hear your thoughts, Seth.
Yeah, man, spit.
ow, my wallet.
Oh, because you mean when that figure inevitably drops, it's
You
gonna
just
Yeah.
know, like, whenever Horikoshi drops a design, it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna market the hell out of this. And
That's a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
that no, that's not gonna be a Funko Pop.
No, that's gonna be a
I
figure.
mean, it
That's-
probably will actually, but
I
that's
mean-
not what I'm bracing myself.
I mean, even if we don't get the Deku Carnage figurine, Deku with that scar towards the end, like during this chapter, that's gotta be a figure.
No, there's a $250 Black Whip figure coming where those Black Whip tendrils coming out of his back will be the base of the stand, will connect to the base of the stand, keeping him midair. Like
Mhm.
that's what's coming. And if you want to send me that for free for giving you the design tips on that figure, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I mean, I got the one that they made from him in the Dark Hero arc when he's like walking down the street with
The one
Same.
Horikoshi wanted.
Yes.
Also,
Sick.
the fact that he has to vocalize, I want this, and it's not just you created this IP.
Have it
Here's
for
this
free.
figure. Like, bro, get the fuck out of here. Y'all ass. Unless you want to give me that for free, like I mentioned.
I just love that he can draw something and be like, please make this a figure. I love that for him though. That's so
Isn't
cool.
that like every artist's dream? Like if you draw, you're kind of like, it'd be nice if like I drew shit and people were like, make this into something profitable quickly.
Not
Mhm.
even that. It's like as an artist, if you see someone draw your character, that just gives you everything in your soul. Someone drew
Yes.
my shit. Oh my god, bro.
Oh yeah, no, that's like, gosh, that's like a proposal almost. Just, oh, you will draw for me? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, I know the feeling. That's mm. So obviously this chapter is, I think it's impossible for the ending to not be controversial because, well, there's so much at stake.
Yeah.
Which I just have to laugh again at people who keep saying that there is no stakes. I'm like, oh no. People are about to go to war again.
Yeah, the Baku Dekus are gonna
Depending on
have the best war of their life, man. I can't wait.
oh, I'm not
If
even
they're the
talking
right, they're
about
the
that,
best
though. Yes,
readers
you're
in
right.
history. I have to give up my reading rights to them because I never saw it coming. But I will hail my crown to them because they are the best readers in history if they caught
They
it.
saw it coming from a mile away.
Oh yeah, no, like that's just a whole other level of I kneel. But no, I'm not just talking about like shipping. I mean like, the consequences for this fight.
Oh yeah.
What happens.
Mhm.
The idea of weaponizing the quirks themselves, their factors,
Yeah.
I actually really like that from a how do I describe it? It's not like it's off the rails, but it is kind of off the rails. Like kind of that's sort of what you do in shonen when you get to like the final fight. It's like, okay, what crazy ass thing are you going to come up with, like a new way to use power or whatever? And I really like this as far as things like that go. Um
Mhm.
like especially comparing to how other shonen manga tend to handle the over the top stuff. I mean, it's fine. It's final arc stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, the artist is just going crazy. The shonen protagonist has the win, kind of. I don't know. I remember being whelmed or otherwise satisfied with how other manga did it. I'm actually really kind of excited to see how Horikoshi continues this approach. Because I think it is a good way to give closure to the ghosts of the past, right?
Mhm.
Like, I've never really felt like these people can just stick around forever,
Mhm.
because they're just so tied to that conflict with All for One. So I kind of really like this way of using them to end things and hopefully open up the future. Um, that said, this confirms to me they're all gone. Like the quirk factors, everything. At best, Deku's left with super strength. There's no way Deku
Yo,
doesn't go above and beyond with this
Ah,
approach.
so quick question.
I
So,
Because this just
so
popped in my
enjoy
head.
Black Whip
okay, let's
while we
stop you
have
there
it.
before you keep going with that.
No, 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 no.
Nuh-uh.
I'm keeping it. This is my take. You can't
Okay.
have it.
The quirk factors, I think, have to stay because well, Black Wick is basically the coolest thing that's ever happened to Deku.
No, I agree, and it's gonna go. I absolutely agree. It is gone.
Yeah,
He's
Seth,
going beyond
stand on
plus ultra. This is
I just
your
want
Stand on
decade we're talking
business.
about.
for standing on business.
I disagree because there's a lot to this fight that we have to really consider. This is like
know what?
this is like
Lie.
not even the end point.
No, there is a. This is like just
I
the
don't
roadmap
look
kind
if
of.
this battle is going to move like because Kudo said it's like look strength for strength you're not going to be able to do it. So we have to hit it inside and attack him from the inside. Okay. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be as straightforward as he's presenting it. There's just a lot of weird elements to this that I'm not really like if we go the direction of like him being quirkless or even left with super strength, I don't know if I'm really going to jive with that because this is not Deku's plan, is my thing. This is Kudo's plan. So
I wanted to comment
I don't know
on
if
that too.
I don't know if it's going to feel right for Deku's sacrifice to be like Kudo kind of nudging him in the right direction instead of him taking a stand and being like, no, this is what I got to do.
Mhm.
It's more like he's just kind of passively agreed to it because like he's like, I mean, they discussed the instant kill method last chapter, but that
see what you're
kind of
saying.
it kind of also hasn't been really going anywhere. So I think what has to happen is you're gonna see some sort of because remember, Deku has to complete One for All. He has not done that yet. So I don't see how you tie that up correctly by having those quirk factors gone. That's my issue.
I will say that was also one of my biggest problems with this chapter is that we have a lot of because of course like it was mentioned earlier about the vestiges I think Cameron Bailey or someone else mentioned that they're not caring about the Vestiges. Me personally, I don't like how it's all Kudo talking. This is Deku's fight. Of course, they can chime in, but it should be Deku's plan first and foremost. So I do agree with Volk. They're like what Kudo wants to do, they'll probably do it, but it's not going to be the final plan here.
Well,
I also think Kudo's guess will turn out 90% correct. There
I
has to be a
also think
caveat.
it's
Also,
like-
real quick, Tyler, that Bleach chapter is chapter 124. So when that figure drops, I accept.
I do want to say, Volk, I really like your thread, your Twitter tweet about how Kudo's plan is basically the
it's a Death Star trench run.
And I did note that just totally went over my head, and I was like, huh, yeah, that's a good point.
That is adorable, actually. Oh my god.
Yeah. So basically,
You're
stars
right.
Galen Urso. She has opened up a weakness. It's a big spherical mass with the power to destroy a planet.
You're right.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And so they have to
The city's the trench, you know?
Yeah, they have to hit that weakness at the right spot at the right time. Well, well, of course they're going to keep flinging quirk vestiges at it.
No.
And there's also the question of Shinomori. Like, I don't think you can have really, like, the way Horikoshi writes, I don't think you can have them just go out like quite like how Kudo's proposing. Like, I think there needs to be a last goodbye and a final proper passing of the torch moment where it's like, this is your fight now. I don't really see him being excluded from that because, well, this is Horikoshi writing this series and not Gege Akutami. Ha
Ooh.
There's our weekly shit on JJK.
Chill on my goat. Chill on my goat.
there.
He's
Hold
cooking.
on. Hold on. I
Let
do
him
want to
cook,
point something
let him
out
cook.
that I genuinely believe that if for whatever reason we really do launch every single vestige, first off, I really need Banjo to stay. Especially because that was mentioned in this chapter, Banjo staying. But also, if we really do send them in there to destroy the dark world, destroy whatever however you want to phrase it, to me, that gets rid of the all for one problem, like destroys all of Shigaraki's quirks, or a bunch of them. But that should still leave him with decay and his ridiculous Giga Chad body.
Yep.
So in that scenario, what we then get is something we pretty much never really get in MHA. So let's say we do lose Black Whip.
So just that knockdown, drag out fight.
Yes. And I would kind of be okay with if we nuke the entire internal battle and then it actually, because as much as people like, MHA is just about which people punch harder, and it's like, dude, you just don't pay attention to the series. But if the final fight literally just ends up being that, I'm actually okay with that, because I think about how Bakugo had to beat All for One. This man dropped sweat droplets that were layered inside of other sweat droplets, like threw him up his ass and on his face, and then got lucky because he went fast enough that the impact caused him to detonate and blew out his jaws, and then he lost focus, and then he was able to get a couple free shots in. That's not which person punches harder. That's somebody setting a trap that's like, you can go fast enough to accidentally blow your face off if I do this right. No, like Shoto had to figure out how to create a fire that's actually ice, but it still functions like fire so that it can lower the temperature of fire so that he wouldn't burn himself while fighting somebody who's as hot as the sun, and blah 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 blah. Like, and then, that dude left and then was about to turn himself into a nuclear bomb. So then his family had to show up and try to lower his temperature, but it wasn't really working. And then they were all going, and he was burning off his limbs. And like, it's not about whose firepower was the biggest. It was about trying to figure out how you can negate their. Ochako had to lift up an entire army of people, try to keep them off the ground, stop them from spreading and murdering everybody that she knew and cared about and even didn't care about and was kind of a stranger, and one time got in the way while she was walking down the road. It was kind of inconvenient, so she doesn't really have a high opinion of that person, but they don't necessarily deserve to die for that, so she's going to help them stay alive in this battle against Toga while getting stabbed and losing her blood and figuring out how to level her quirk up. like all these other battles have had a bunch of hoops to jump through. So if the final battle after this round of closing out the legacy of like One for All versus All for One, and then it's just superpower, as they used to call Deku's Quirk when they didn't have the name One for All access to that name, and Shigaraki being a Giga Chad with Decay, and it's just a knock them out, drag them down brawl, like Air Force attacks and all kinds of other shit. That's just what Deku's created, what Deku's worked on, what Deku honed, and you know, Shigaraki, who we saw got great physical training, boxing Makia. I can live with that.
When you really
Because
think
by
about
that
it,
point, by the One for All and All for One thing, any discussion on whether or not Shigaraki should be saved or can be saved is dead. All your One for All homies are dead.
There's so many factors, man. It's like,
so
I
if
don't
we can
think
get to that point, then yeah, that shouldn't even be a conversation anymore. If we have no more One for All shards, even like
I was
we lose all
thinking
the-
about Shigaraki's quirk, right? And oh, by the way, hey Aniki,
That's good.
yeah. So I was thinking, right, and I was like, damn, this would be great to use for Twitter. Can you just imagine all the stuff you could just erase if you had decay? Just like you could put it on the computer. That'd be great. Some of these takes I'm seeing need to go.
Yeah,
permanent.
man. I'd scrub your entire Twitter account off this history if I had that power.
Bro, we gotta scrub that entire website, man. That place needs a cleansing.
No, it's fine. That's what keeps us fun. I'll just scrub
calm down,
yours.
Emu.
I'm
Yeah.
not.
Sorry.
I keep getting ads on Twitter asking, basically asking if I need a lawyer for a discrimination case because I'm white, which is pretty funny. I've gotten like 10 of them. So yeah, decay would be really convenient right now.
It sounds like it's already in effect. Ayo.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, All Might living or possibly living. So here's what I can say. I have a small gripe with Edgeshot, aka actual G string now.
Chill. He relinquished his title since the war.
Look, he literally is the grandma from the SpongeBob meme right now. Just let him have this.
I was hoping you would say just let him pass, because it's not like he can have a real life after this. This man, like,
I haven't seen his injuries in human form yet.
Well, that's
the fact that he
goes
hasn't
back.
gone back to human form should tell you something.
He
You
likes
don't
being
think
in
he
that
can-
form.
Wait a minute, Aniki. You
Maybe
don't think he
it's
can
his
find?
kink,
Wait,
I don't know.
Wait a minute. You don't think he can't find good, good employment as a as a swimsuit? Like not as a swimsuit model,
He
but like
can, he can work as a
swimsuit.
bookmark, a professional bookmark.
Oh no.
Yeah, he has
Oh,
job
Brooklyn,
opportunities.
yes.
Oh no.
Like,
Give a man a chance. Chill.
I mean, I'm
He's-
sure the
he's
porn
the top three
industry
for
could
a
find something
reason.
for him.
yeah, because All
Oh,
Might
you guys are
retired.
terrible.
And oh my
You don't
god.
think? Wait, you don't
Edgeshot
think
is
he can
here.
be? Wait a minute. You don't think if they make a Flat Stanley movie, Edgeshot can't be a main character in that? If they make a movie like that, that's crazy.
No,
But
I will
that's
say I do think that like Quirk should just keep him around to have him spout occasional exposition and talk to tell the audience and All Might stuff. Every now and then.
Why does Edgeshot need to tell us?
That's the thing that I'm like, bro, he's because like All Might could have said it himself. Yeah, I need to stay awake.
I agree. I was
might
about
die.
to say that. Like everything Edgeshot could have said, All Might could have said himself in his, in his mind. Like, damn.
Edgeshot is just
Have-
here. But
He
you
is.
know what? Sometimes you just gotta be at the party. You don't gotta do anything. Just sit in the corner. And just listen to the music.
Like,
We all got an Edgeshot in our lives.
because I'm just like, bro.
Sometimes I'm afraid I am the Edgeshot.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
well,
why he's named Edgeshot. He just
I am
always
become
sits at the
Edgeshot.
edge.
Yeah, because he's edging you for the last shot of a chance at anyway.
Oh, that's for next there.
All right, hold on.
It's a
Pause.
PG stream. Kind of.
No, it's not. When was that? When was
I don't
that
know why
ever
you're
made?
complaining about PG, Thomas. The shit you tell me is fucking heinous.
That's not
way
true.
worse than what he said.
Let's
Bro,
not slander
bro, some of
me.
the stuff I've heard.
It's not
Thomas
slander. I
say,
told
was
East
bro,
what you said about the
Catholic?
bats.
That's
That was
crazy.
fucking crazy.
Hang on. What you say, Squid?
I was like, bro, some of the stuff I've heard you say, it was like, bro, I couldn't believe you were
Exactly.
Catholic. It was so heretical, man. It was crazy.
I'm atheist. Where you get that from?
I was like, wow, bro, you were deviant. You're more deviant than me.
Y'all
That's
lying
actually
on my
wild.
name and
I'm
lying
not.
on
You
I'm
my.
lying
said
on
it
your
to me in
name, bro. I'm
VC
swearing to
what
the
you did.
Lord.
It
That's a
was
whole different
horrible.
level of truth.
Like, crazy.
Thomas, you remember the bats?
Hello?
You told me that movie
back
you
to
watched.
back to chapter.
Where am I?
I don't know.
Look, all
You
I'm
know where
saying
we
is
at.
that the truth is the light, and then he will be
New
exposed.
Thomas Lore just dropped. But the thing about this is that what was throwing me off is, as much as Shigaraki is saying, I'm all business and I'm standing on it, we can all acknowledge that he's playing around a lot more than you would expect for somebody who's actually determined to just end it all.
He's yapping more than I would.
Like
why
he's
are you-
ascending slowly, basically, and
Like, you're dramatically hovering, you're doing all this other stuff, you're letting people plan to defeat you. Like, as much as he's saying, I'm here to finish the job, it just doesn't seem like he's really invested in it. Or he's
gotta
way more scared of
understand.
Deku than,
Yeah.
which
Gotta
is fair.
understand. Uh-huh.
Like, it is fair for him to be, afraid of Deku.
I think
even though
I
not-
think he's hesitating. Yeah. Like he knows they're planning something. And like even at the end there where he's like sheesh, I would never guess you were a hero. Like that's
Yeah.
him saying is like, shit, dude, like you're gonna be a problem.
Also, I had to zoom in to make sure I was looking at this right. On page 11, that cloak that's like hanging off Shigaraki's body, that is just flesh. So he's got like a fleshy cape.
You never noticed that before?
I've like noticed that he's peeled his body off, but I kind of was just like, oh, like maybe his outfit is. But I'm like, no, like he's taking that extra time to draw that. I'm like, this is extra gross.
Well, the thing about
Take off that
Shigaraki,
dead
It's
skin,
so
bro.
fire.
well, the thing about Shigaraki kind of like yapping and just like waffling around is that and if you're a man, this is a very like primitive, primordial part of one's soul. But it's like you gotta flex. You gotta flex and start on hoes. That's a mandatory thing. If you're a villain, if you're a hero, if you're doing something crazy, you gotta stunt.
Mhm.
So we gotta keep that in mind.
You okay?
I will say I was a bit nervous when I saw that All Might scene at the beginning. I don't
Mhm.
see another thing that I've always thought was, see, All Might's vestige has always been ephemeral, like barely
Mhm.
there. But in this scene at the very beginning, his consciousness from himself, like the actual body, slipped in to the vestige, kind of. And I'm like, Horikoshi, what are you doing?
It also stems from
already
the
been
fact that,
there.
like what Edgeshot said, if you fall asleep, you die. So he's drifting in
Right,
and out.
like obviously All Might is not okay right now. So like
Mhm.
Horikoshi.
I
do you-
don't
Medic.
I think it's something where he's going to be slipping in spiritually.
Yes, that too.
I think it's because of like it's kind of the same thing how when people awaken their quirks, they're basically on the verge of death. He's right on the verge of dying here if he doesn't stay conscious. So I think he's gonna keep slipping in and out. My thing is also Star. Because no way is this the end of her involvement in all this. Like there's zero chance of that.
I will say
the
this
end
is
of it,
giving
would
us.
it be bad?
If he is going this far to make it like not just like it would be one thing if it was like a little smattering and all the vestiges saw it. It's like, oh, those are her embers. All Might specifically reacted to it because the only person she really knows out of that bunch is All Might. So I'm thinking she set something up in advance Remember, like All for One was speculating, did she set one last rule, but then she vanished before that happened? If she set a condition that would only respond to All Might, I want to see where that goes.
The one thing I will
We'll see.
say against that is that she's not very knowledgeable of the whole like one for all for one, like
no,
quirk,
but she's
like
knowledgeable. She's knowledgeable
struggle.
about her own quirk. Now, I don't really know if Deku's gonna get the quirk or whatnot. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen here.
No, what I
just
mean is
think-
that I don't think Star would know that this like Deku versus Shigaraki and
she wouldn't know, but she knows about All Might, so it's like
Mhm.
she knows her master was involved in all of that. I think it's just it's weird. I don't think she's done.
So here's what's going to happen.
Mhm.
All Might's consciousness is going to slip into that realm again, and then it's going to turn out the last rule that Cassie set is that the New Order quirk should be passed to All Might. All Might's going to say, "Oh, I'm All Might," and then all of a sudden he's going to have the vestige of New Order transfer over to him. He's going to suddenly wake up, place a rule on his body, allowing him to be Prime All Might, and then he's going to rush the battle and long dick Shigaraki.
Oh my-
I love your
You're
MHA
killing me from
fandom
peak.
impression.
Oh my god, peak. Oh,
Dies from peak.
oh.
I know
I've
you're
lost.
joking. I know you're joking, but part of me wants to see something like
New
that.
Order, give me back one for all, and then All Might comes back and he just punches
like-
everyone and wins the day.
Look, here's the thing. Like people keep saying it's like, oh well, she's done. That's gonna be it. It's like, oh well, she's done. That's gonna be it. Like, dude, New Order is just such a fucking broken mess of a quirk. You cannot safely say that
It
shit is not
is.
going to keep going down.
Also,
You factor in something that literally warps reality to the user's whims. You
Wait,
cannot ever say that's going to be a non-factor.
I can.
I don't think so,
He's just
Tyler.
not built like that.
I like the fact that Volk that we've spoken long enough that you know that those kinds of rants, specifically in that cadence, equal this is humorous. This is humorous. Please, for the love of God, don't take it seriously. Don't clip this and post it out of context.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. I think this is necessary though overall, because it's like the thing with Deku has always been like his quirklessness. So having like there's really no demonstration of being a greater hero than that if he does willingly give those up. It's just we still got the thing with Kirigiri and Aizawa.
Oh yeah, they still got to come back.
Yeah, we still got whatever Sero's moment is. I am shocked that all this other crazy shit has happened. All for One is literally dead, right? The other main villain of the series, aside from Shigaraki, he's gone. Bakugo finished him off. We got all these other fights. Todoroki plotline is like 98% resolved. Chako and Toga, that whole thing is pretty much done. We'll see if she does something else. You have all of these factors at play here, and it's like I don't know if you can initiate what's kind of like a last ditch effort run that seems to be resolving the whole fight and just leave it there. So, man,
I think what Hori said about like wanting to do something cool with Sero was just him being like, it'd be cool to do something with Sero.
No.
It's very
He's
it's like
gonna
it's
give
very
Sero
funny.
half a chapter
Listen,
to
it's
do
very
something.
funny
His fight-
how he's leaving until now. Maybe we'll get something cool.
What if it's
there,
anime?
which I
only?
hope.
No, he's definitely planning something for him because
It's not gonna
wasn't
be
in that
much.
tone, and also the fight with Gashley is still going.
Yeah,
No.
But
What I'm saying
okay.
is that Hori probably changed his mind. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just saying there's
he
a
doesn't do that, man.
possibility.
He does
I
not
mean,
do that, man.
Or he also
Yeah,
said we'll
let-
see
why-
his dad,
okay.
and we haven't seen his dad yet. You know,
Why-
like
why
sometimes
would
a monkey kid can
Sero-
change his mind. It
Why
could
would
happen.
Sero have more than Aoyama, who had a traitor plotline established? He didn't even fight Aoyama.
I
We
mean,
just cut back to him, and Invisible Girl finished him off. Sero's
Yeah.
just gonna get half a chapter, and then we're gonna cut back.
He's
Yeah,
So,
that's definitely a
you know what
possibility.
Sero's moment is going to be? Deku's gonna be like, "Oh, sure, you get." Launching Black Whip deep into
Gash.
Shigaraki's bowels. And right as Shigaraki is disintegrating, he's going to go to reach out, and Sero's going to be like, yeet, and save Deku from that last little bit of little, like, Shigaraki palm. Boom.
And then he
Sero's
becomes
big
the
moment.
second greatest hero of all time.
Peak.
Is it imagine like somebody arrives on the scene. Is it Bakugo? No, it's me, Sero. Oh, we're finished.
You mean nice try?
I think Sero's moment is going to be like not necessarily like involved in the Shigaraki stuff. I think he's going to be dealing with something else. It's like the fact that he saved it for this long, like he hasn't changed his mind. Like if he gave every single person in the class some kind of moment, he's going to give him something too.
I just don't think
I'm
it's
only
a long
saying
moment.
I'm only saying that maybe we only got that little glimpse, just as a possibility, because you don't know. I definitely would love to see something big with Sero, but I just want to, just to.
I do think that if the Horikoshi took the time to give that bum ass nigga Koda a moment, that somebody like Sero, who's been around a lot longer and has had arguably in the realm of side characters a lot more focus than Koda.
Yeah, but honestly, there's a difference, man. Koda's raw. I am now a Koda stan.
Sero's cool. What do you mean?
He's rawer than Sero. What has Sero done?
Koda's a bum.
Koda has more stats than Sero.
Stats
don't make
don't
him
mean
not a
nothing when
bum.
you
I
have
don't know.
zero
Koda can
grip,
tell a
bro.
gorilla
He
to snap your
literally
neck,
is
so watch it.
incapable
Where's the
of-
gorillas? Where are they?
Yeah,
He's
he'd
the
be too scared
coolest
to talk
looking
to it.
hero in My Hero. He looks
Just
cooler
saying.
than Deku.
No,
Coyote's sitting
okay,
there
no.
like-
Hang on.
no,
This is a
stop.
level
All
dick
I'm
riding
hearing out
I
of this
ain't
is
taking.
Coyote's a furry.
Absolute
But
nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, because I've been
I can't even say I'm a
rewatching.
furry, but what is Coda? I
Like,
don't
I've been
even know what he
rewatching. Oh,
is.
sorry.
Well,
A waste of pay space.
speaking of
Koda's face looks like a canyon. Like I don't know. Like he has no drip, bro. I'm sorry.
well,
He's like the candies that your grandmother would give at Halloween. That's
He
him.
looks like Onyx if he was stripped of all of his coolness.
yeah, speaking
and
of
was peach colored.
Speaking of rawness, though, you get to that last Deku spread, and it's a freaking fire form.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's like kind of like spider-like, and also not too dissimilar to like how Shigaraki was kind of propping himself up when Alpha One was controlling him during PLW.
The
Like
tendrils.
Yeah, like that creepy spider effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the very last panel of this chapter is very curious because it focuses on Deku's hand. Now, one for all transference is biological, like you need to give some of your biological matter to another person. But I'm wondering if part of the process of the quirk becoming fully formed and Deku being on the verge of death himself, what if he's going to form the All for One holes in his palms?
I think it's possible. 100%.
I'm gonna slander Thomas so hard if that happens.
And maybe
not because
maybe
it's
it's
bad,
not.
but I can make so much agenda with that.
Maybe it's not necessarily like oh, I'll be able to give and take, but it's purely able to give. Or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
some kind of
it's possible.
synthesis I can see happening. I mean, that sort of ties in well with the thematic nature of the fights when heroes and villains clash. Usually, I think something else is born. So I can see something like that happening, maybe.
Madman's on my side. Don't ever trip on Coda.
No, the biggest surprise to me when I was rewatching the anime on Blu-ray is that in the final exam, Coda got Yusei Run.
Really?
Yeah, during
The
the
fact
final
just
exam.
lost so many points.
I was-
That's a wasted Yusei run. Why would they dishonor it like that? That's crazy.
That is single-handedly one of the worst music choices ever, if that's the case.
I was really surprised.
And all
I
the
mean,
students during that section get it though. I don't think it's just
Coda got it? Wait, I
Coda.
wasn't Coda?
yeah, you got.
Let's fucking go, Coda! What does
during
Sero
final
have?
test.
That was a participation trophy.
It was. It
They don't
was.
count.
And I
A
will
trophy's
say,
a trophy. A dub's
I
a
will-
dub.
I will
No,
say
it's not. This is
that
barely a dub.
he is
You
the
wouldn't
only
know,
one
brother.
that has had a quirk awakening
crazy.
without being mortally wounded first.
Look, all I know is,
Oh, you're about to lose
Is-
your headset.
yeah, I know. My little Debo going at it. If I look at the kit, like if we pull up class 1A, like here, I'm just gonna open up Google real quick. Class 1A. We're gonna pull up an image of them.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Alright, so look.
I think with the new head thing, his head actually looks like it fits his body now. So
That's true. Hagakure got a moment. Tokoyami got a moment. Manetta. Yorozu got sort of a moment because we know she was fighting against Twices to protect what's her face. Let's see. Sugar Man hasn't gotten a moment, doesn't deserve a moment. Jiro got her moment. Shoji got a moment. Uraraka
Yes, sir.
slayed. Aoyama slaughtered.
Yes, sir.
Ashido did her job. Sue, ultimate wing woman of all time. Ida did a good job. Rushed a
job
little
being a
boy
taxi.
across the country.
Very sexy.
Nani? Kaminari was a battery. Ojiro could still use something just because his whole thing is being painfully normal. So it'd be nice if he got a little shine to give him a little something, something.
Ojiro's gonna pick up Sero's dead body.
Tokoyami.
IFP.
Bakugo got to pop off. So we're looking at Sugar Rush. Because Kirishima got to do stuff, but it would be nice if he got to do a little more. So I'll say Kirishima's stuff was a little underwhelming for himself, but that particular section of chapters felt like Horikoshi was grinding and sick or something, because that felt like a weird stretch based on how what preceded it was set up or was written versus how that moment actually was executed. But yeah, so we're kind of really looking at Sero. I don't expect Sfasato to get a moment. He's just been a very neglected character. What? You want Dad's headphones?
Not Sarah. Sato's gonna show up in like the conclusion and apologize to Eri for what the fuck he said to Deku during Deku Black. Like, sorry, I did that to you, Eri. I had to use you in a very stupid way.
Yeah, Sato better stand on business. Don't apologize
Deku
to
came back
Deku.
anyway, so
Yeah, I mean, Kiri, isn't Kiri knocked out? I'd be happy to see him wake up and do something.
Yeah, I don't see the point of Kirishima coming back and doing something.
You gotta do
I think
Unbreakable
everyone
for
that's
the
been
50th
shown
time.
is done. Like Shinso is chilling. He's whatever he's doing. Like they don't need to come back. They're
you
fine.
robbed your dad.
Look, taking what she wants.
Yeah,
Like an
Shinso got a dub.
King.
Also,
I
Tyler,
agree, Cameron, but it also comes down to I think you can't really show that much of 1B with how much people we have.
Look,
And that's the same with like the main cast. You can't really have drawn out chapters showing everyone without it feeling too weird within pacing and everything.
Monoma got his shine, so
Yeah.
that's good. And then if I'm honest, the only 1B kids that I'm like, yeah, give us a little something extra for them. Tetsu and Big Hands.
Juzo was the goat, bro.
Oh, Juzo could get a little more too. I'm not gonna lie, but Juzo at least got some POW shine. I think Big Hands and Tetsu are the main ones that need.
I would love to see Kurohiro again during the Alpha 1 fight and see him team up with Tokoyami. Like, he would have benefited a lot. Yeah, that too. But hey, we gotta give people. I mean, a lot of people are just like, of course, they're side characters, and side characters have the side character. They're not all going to get their focus.
You
It'd be cool, but we'd have a much longer
You get that from
manga. I
Yeah.
feel like if Hori gave all of them shine, some of them are going to have like kind of whatever moments. If you just
Look-
had to put them into the current arcs that we got.
Ever since people decided everything about joint training was bad, I've accepted that we'll never get like 1B can't be given that kind of focus because people get so shitty towards it.
I'm still upset we never got Vlad King fighting or anything. That was something I really wanted to see.
Yeah, his blood, his
Do you
quirk seems
imagine
cool.
if he just created like a giant crystal like blood dragon or something like that, like an ultimate move? That'd be cool. Because he could crystallize his blood
Very
and
Blaze
make it real
Blue
big.
type of move.
I kind of agree, Cameron, but it also comes down to like you have multiple characters fitting the same purpose for the mutant arc. Like you have Shoji, Koda, Spinner, and some other bums. So it comes down to like I don't know. I feel like adding any more would kind of be redundant, even though them being in the background would be nice.
Even Coda being there felt kind of redundant.
Yeah.
Because like hell, you could have swapped out Coda stuff for more Shoji, and I would have been like, yeah.
Yeah. I would have hyped up Shoji even more.
Because like Shoji's a character that most of us were interested in, just because he was a nigga with 6 arms. Like, are there people like Coyote who wrongly gas up Coda? Of course.
Whoa, no, whoa.
This is true.
He hasn't
I
died
I
yet,
did the
so
research.
he is a
I
main
did the
character.
research.
But nobody was really caring. Like, oh, Coda grew horns. Oh, like, bro.
I cared.
Nobody care about that, nigga.
Like I said, his head looks like it fits his
Homeless.
body now. So
hang on, because I'm about to expose Coyote. We had a
Expose
VC
me, I
once.
expose you.
Listen,
You don't
we
want
had
to
a
go down
voice.
this. You
We
don't
had
want to
a
go down this.
VC once, right? And then I brought. I think it was Kaiser who mentioned about him, and Coyote blamed Kaiser. So I don't want to hear you being on like Coda's
who-
side now. You're fake. You're a fake fan. That's where you are.
What
I
did
told you
flame him
Thomas
for?
was a
Whoa, whoa,
deviant.
whoa,
Look
what?
at look out how
For
many receipts he
for
keeps.
standing up for Coda.
I never did that. Kaiser
No,
was
that's
slandering
bullshit.
The
Coda
light
in
will
my
be
voice chat.
exposed. The truth
That's
will
I
be
crazy.
revealed.
was
Nah.
holding it down in there.
I can check that. I can grab receipts. You have never talked about
I have.
Coda. You
Don't
are
make me
being
send
fake.
General VC.
You are being
I can
fake.
send in
That's where
General,
you
but I
are.
told East you did. Don't you make me do
Nah, you were lying about me. I'm not lying about you. That's the thing. That's the
Who are
difference
you
between you
accusing
and
me
Check
of?
General
I.
chat. Check General chat. See what happened. This is what you did. Oh my god, that was horrible.
No, I never did that.
I got 3 witnesses.
No,
This is crazy, Thomas.
But,
How do you respond? You said you had
I
receipts.
respond by saying this is false.
Saying this
He
is
only
false.
he
You saying this
he
is
say
cap?
she say.
You
Where's
know
your
what you did
evidence?
with the fucking bats. It was
Coda
horrible.
speaks like Coyote. In his fucking mind.
Yeah,
gotta-
I'm not.
we-
I don't know, Thomas. This isn't looking good for you.
It ain't
You're gonna
good. I got 3
cleaned out
witnesses,
soon.
Thomas.
Listen. When you go up to someone and say,
Okay.
"Yo, he did this," and you don't provide evidence, I did that, and then you prove that as quote unquote receipts, that's not gonna fly.
I got coffee,
That's
Giorno, and some
horseshit.
other fucker on speed dial.
You're talking absolute shit right now. That's why you are.
Shite.
But I
Of
will
course you
say,
say that, you British
this
bum.
okay. In
Oh,
this
that's crazy.
chapter,
Oh, he
Um,
accusing them of colonization. How do you respond?
oh, I can say a lot of stuff. But I am really like curious on what we'll see with the Vestiges going into All for One. I really want to see them go to a city, fight some, All for One Quirk Vestiges.
So here's my question then. Do you think that like as they go through the city, because if we get a vestige in the center arc inside this arc, I'd be okay with that. Like because I could see it taking them to like their own battles with All for One. That could be an interesting like direction
Well,
for it to go.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think the world itself is kind of like, you remember Shigaraki walking on the streets after killing his parents, and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of bleeds into like the panels bleed into the cityscape.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the scene of where he was all alone after
Yes.
afterwards where people weren't helping him. So
Mhm.
I think he's still going to be I think he might still be wandering the streets inside the Vestiges, because once they get there, like it's gonna introduce a whole lot of different rules, because that place is purely metaphysical. There's like we saw in his own like we saw a glimpse of it before when Shigaraki was like he was temporarily dead, and then he's kind of searching within himself, and the All for One vestige appeared and is like, "Hey, accept my power. You'll be able to come back." So I think it's going to be a lot of some very flighty kind of trippy stuff, and I don't know if it's going to be individual battles. I'm not sure, but I would really like to see that. And I don't know if this is just a coincidence or not, but part of this reminds me of a game I played. I know Horikoshi's into JRPGs called Live Alive. I don't really want to spoil anything, but you basically have like a boss gauntlet at the end for each of the characters. And I've kind of felt that the main villain of that game was similar to Shigaraki in some ways, but I don't know. Who knows with that guy?
I think it's like really powerful what Hori's doing with the whole, tossing the Vestiges at Shigaraki. Because like think about like the Vestiges sitting in Deku's mind, like knowing that they failed before, knowing that they have a chance of like actually doing something. Like it isn't just Deku tossing them at Shigaraki. They can, go through those cities and try to get Tenko, like what Kudo said. I think that's
also think it'll
awesome.
be kind of fascinating that if they travel through the city to get to Little Tank, it'll be in direct contrast with what all of them think is the solution.
Yes.
So if you just pull up on Little Tank, you're like, we found him. Murder, she wrote. That's not helping anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why if we do start firing off Vestiges, the one that'll get fired off and fix it will be Nana.
Yeah, absolutely.
She'll
She
be
has
able to give Little
to
Tank the grandma love he never got to have.
Yeah.
Oh no. To see a moment like that when he fires off Nana. Oh. Yeah.
I also do think there's a danger here of it being a little too sappy as well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want him to like oversell it. And I think from time to time he does oversell it because like he's so really attached to the characters. I want him to step away from that just a little bit and keep mixing in a lot of that realism that he's really good at doing. He did that. He did this extremely well during Toga versus Oshao. He did it extremely well with the Dabi fight as well, where it's like there are these, like, yes, they're very broken, very hurt people, but reality catches up with you, and
there's still consequences.
Yeah, there's still consequences. There's still a follow-up. There's still an what about after? What about after what happens?
The thing is that I kind of expect Tenko to kind of be okay fading away. So that's why I feel like the piece of All for One inside, I think that goes bye-bye. I think that's the only way. So like if the Vestiges get cooked, I could kind of see Banjo hanging out, and which is also to minimize how sappy it gets, though. I do think the only way it doesn't get to complete cornball territory is if we don't save Nana for second to last, where it's like, all right, shot 6, go Nana. Because I also want to know, like, where is Yoichi supposed to be spaced out in this, right?
Yeah, we don't know if he's gonna fire these off one at
Yeah.
a time or in groups.
I
Remember,
I
Kudo
feel
is
like,
just a test.
well, okay, going back to the Death Star trench run comparison. So there are like two very key moments to that make me think that like this is going to kind of swerve. There's the moment where Luke has to get stop using the targeting computer because it's limiting his potential to connect with the Force, and he has to place complete faith outside of himself and into the greater universe that my connection with the overall universe and the world around me is going to lead me to victory. And him doing that is that leap of faith, and he ends up rewarded for it and wins the day. The other moment is when Han Solo comes in and blasts away Darth Vader and his TIE fighters to give Deku his shot. I'm not quite sure what that Han Solo moment is going to be. Because there needs to be some kind of opening. It could be Nana. It could be Yoichi. It could be anybody. It could be, hell, it could be All Might coming in too.
Also, the danger to Yoichi
No, that's
possibly
actually
being
what I'm
sent
worried
over.
about is All Might's vestige.
I mean,
All
really,
Might,
we know
I
there are
feel
going to be
like
three.
All Might has
For
no
one
quirk.
comes back,
There are going to be
then
three vestiges that
All Might
stick around with
vestige has
him.
a role to play.
Yeah, there are going to be three vestiges that seem to be sticking around with him until the very end. That's Banjo, out of necessity. Yoichi, because he's tied directly to the core, like, quirk, because power stalking and his own quirk to pass his quirk on are fused. And then there's All Might, who actually imprinted his own consciousness on the quirk, and that's what gave life to the other vestiges.
I just
So
a thought popped in my head.
I think you can technically consider All Might the user of the power stalking quirk. Honestly. Like, he's a unique case because he did not have a pre-existing quirk.
yeah.
So he really took command of the power stalking element of it, and Deku's taking command of like all the other quirks. So there's so much potential for last minute rules, and he needs to be very careful if it's not that it doesn't come off too ass pullish. Like he doesn't normally do that, but this is uncharted territory.
It is so delicate, yeah.
The vestige realm has always been this fragile thing that lends more into mysticism than any other aspect of the series.
Mm-hmm.
So in turn, it's got the highest margin of error because it's got far less restrictive rules. And because inherently, okay, I want to make sure I phrase this right. And in case I don't phrase it right, I want to make it abundantly clear. All power systems inherently are restricted to the rule. Whatever the author says goes.
Mm-hmm.
But the better written a power system is, the less you will feel that fact. So, yes, Shoto Todoroki technically makes ice out of nothing, and that's against the rules of physics. But because there's a physical, like, hey, constantly being exposed to cold makes his body cold, or constantly being exposed to heat makes his body overheat, because there's still those rules and those side effects that tie into the real world physics, that aspect of physics breaking is a lot easier to forgive.
Yeah.
Because we have real world references to fall back to and say, okay, he breaks physics in this way, adheres to it in another way. That's the power of quirks. Like you end up breaking some rules and you still follow with some others. Same with Bakugo being able to fire explosions of the same size from his hands that either make him fly or don't. Technically, if the explosion is big enough to make him fly, it should always make him fly or fly backwards, but it doesn't do that. But we accept that it's about, control and blah, 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 blah. So in turn, where's Genie? We accept that. So, but with the vestige realm, we have, where is Genie? There she is. We have religious and spiritual aspects that we can look towards. But one, not everybody is religious or spiritual. Two, where's Jeannie? There she is. Three, yeah, we're counting that.
Doing our best Tomura cosplay.
But in the case of the Vestige realm, we have to also accept the fact that we don't have enough established rules because the realms of any real world physics are completely out the window. And we understand that there's the concept of will, which I think you brought this up last week, Volk. And it might have been Steph. One of you brought it up last week.
Might have been Seth.
In regard to how important will is, but that's nebulous. And so we know that you can decay somebody. We know that you can rip somebody's vestige apart. So we know that on some level, you can fight in the vestige realm like you could in the real world. But what the rules of those fights are, whether it's purely just will or who wants it, or if you can, fight in a conventional sense, and that's like a reflection of your will is your dedication to the battle. Oh, you're gonna bite my thumb. There's extra layers to this that can make it feel more contrived, and it's going to come down to how these battles are executed going forward and what kind of interactions they have in the spiritual realm. Because if you try to make it a fist fight in the spirit realm, yes, there's ways that can be cool, but that's probably going to feel more ass pulley to people who have been keeping up with the series than it coming down to like ideological shifts and reaching out to and getting in contact with Tenko and changing how Tenko perceives things, which means messing around with the subconscious of Shigaraki himself. Hey, what you fussing about?
She's worried about Deku, man. She's stressed.
Aren't we all?
It's my daughter.
Speaking of Deku, I think this chapter really highlights something that a lot of anime Twitter is forgetting, and it comes down to the most human thing in this chapter.
What?
Deku's attachment to One for All isn't just a
Oh,
power; it's a
yes.
gift, and a
Yes.
lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
Like this, Deku's idol is All Might. Deku's father figure
Yeah.
is All Might, and getting something this huge from someone he just adores and cherishes and is very close to
Yeah.
him is just important to
That's
him.
that's the other thing I was
Not just a gift,
wanted
but a
to mention.
blessing. Like a
a
one
blessing.
in
Yeah.
like you can't even quantify
it's not just the
fraction.
blessing part.
Exactly.
It's not just the blessing part. He does not think of the quirk as his. That has
That's
been
true.
the essential problem for him. He keeps trying to be All Might.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps thinking this is All Might's role. I'm passing on All Might's legacy. I think you can't really resolve the series without addressing that. Because look, if Bakugo overcame like every last bit of his discomfort about Deku and his attempts to be a hero, if Ochako like finally started being more open about her feelings for Deku and about all that, if Shoto was talking about like maybe neither of us were really masterpieces in the end, maybe all we really needed to be was just ourselves, I don't think you can really resolve Deku's problem by leaving quirkless. Like
Exactly.
I don't think you can just say, man, I gave up all of my power in order to do the right thing. It's like that's a little too simple. It's a little too basic. It doesn't really gel with Deku because Deku's specific problem is he does not really think of himself as the one really doing everything. Still, like he has imposter
That's what
syndrome.
I'm looking forward to seeing explored as we get closer to the actual like Deku and Shigaraki thing. Because right now we're still dealing with the mechanics of the fight and how it's gonna go. But it's got to get to a point like was said earlier where there's a true heart to heart here. So when we get to that point, I'm really looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
exactly where the author will lean,
I
because there's a
think
point to where
I
the
think the two of them are
character
just
is
going to
gonna.
double down more so. Like, I think Deku's going to keep doubling down on his resolve to be a hero, and he's going to overcome that boundary of like, oh, this isn't really my power, and he's going to, whether it's power stalking or he keeps a couple Vestige cores for himself, whatever, but whatever ends up happening, he's going to take that as his own and be like, this is mine. This is
Well,
my
we'll
quirk. It's my power, and I'm gonna do this to achieve my dream.
we'll see.
Shigaraki on the other hand, it's a little harder to call. It's a little harder to call. I
Well,
don't
yeah, like
specifically know what his mentality is going to be after Deku reaches him.
right. No, in terms of reaching Shigaraki, I do think that the crux of it is, I mean, how I think it's gonna go is Deku actually pulls Tenko out of that rift, that scar inside, but I'm not sure exactly the broader effects that has, because even say Deku reaches the crying child inside him, I'm not sure how that affects Shigaraki broadly or how that resolves the fight itself. So that's more all of this. That's in the author's territory, really. But as far as Deku, as far as
He's committed too much, man. Like it's not going to be as simple as like, oh man, Deku, you reached me. You're right. I'm gonna I'm just gonna give it up. I can let go of my
I
hatred.
kind of feel like if at
right,
that
I'm not
point
sure
we're
how that
going to,
resolves.
if we're bringing Tenko back, I kind of feel like it might just be a personality switch back to original Tenko type deal, which is in its own stuff. Because there's no way to really have Tenko come back and Shigaraki stay in the same place. So I feel like if Tenko does come back, it would have to be a personality swap, which I don't know how people would feel about.
Yeah.
It's a little flighty because it, Shigaraki says that him and Tenko are one and the same, but also there are some bits. There are also some differences for him. I think
It
Shigaraki.
can't be as simple as that. Yeah.
I think Shigaraki is something of a mask. He's a persona.
That's an interesting
He's something
thought.
that
Yeah.
Tenko projects as a form of psychological safety to keep his sanity intact.
And I think that Shigaraki specifically, like when you look at when Mirio called him friendless, uh,
That pissed him off.
that mask completely slipped. Like Tenko has the strong, like Shigaraki is so that okay. So I think this is part of why All for One failed with the takeover, which is that he viewed it as having to take over Shigaraki, whereas what he needed to take over was Tenko, because Tenko is the one who actually has all the strong emotions. Shigaraki is actually a compartmentalization of those emotions, which is
Ooh.
why when he called him friendless, instead of it being, I have the league, Spinner and I played league together, blah, 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 it was Mokon and blah, 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 and my dog, because the true source of all the anger is that little boy. Shigaraki has been in control for way longer, so he's kind of duped himself into believing he's the dominant personality, but in reality, he isn't. Though I don't think you'd get a full blown swap. What I think you'd get is as they're moving into battle, you would get something similar to what the Vestiges did to All for One when he was fighting Jiro, where you saw them just kind of climbing up and grabbing onto him, and he was like, "Hold up, what's going on?"
You can tell him you can be a hero, kind of thing.
Yeah, like something more like Tenko getting involved and being like, "We want it to be a hero, not this. This is
But
our
we'll
chance to
see.
save everyone. We've already taken down the society. It's up to them to rebuild," kind of thing. And like that's a bit more nuanced than I'd expect Tenko to be able to vocalize it, because he's still got the mind of a 5-year-old. But it would be something more along that realm.
Yeah, this is all. Oh, this is so much of this is just in the realm of what the author has in mind. It's really difficult to just read into it because there's a lot of different approaches and angles you can take with the themes that he set up. Like,
Yeah.
for example, like, yeah, he could actually double down on Deku And he has consistently sort of done that, right? Like Deku has always gone kind of above and beyond to save and help people, doing no matter whatever it takes to do it. And I think that's the part that readers are kind of scared of. It's like, is Deku really going to give up everything, kind of thing? The flip side of that, though, is that we did see there are a few moments, not very many, but a few. For example, when Deku's mom got in his way to go to UA, she's like, no, you can't go to that school. And Deku's like, okay, I can't go to All Might school, but can I still be a hero kind of thing? You know,
Mhm.
like he was still willing to take other routes to that. There is some, and there's also the issue where, not the issue, the where Deku leans in on kicks more as opposed to punches, you know, from All Might. There are just small breaks from that All Might persona along the way, I think. And I do want to see, he is gonna reflect back on his class and his friends as well and what they taught him, I think. So I do have some concerns about how far Deku will double down, but I also want to see like the actual effect of the entire journey and exactly where he what's the word, makes one for all his own. And I don't necessarily mean that in the completing the quirk thing. I just mean like his own approach to a situation
I
that
think they are
diverges
one
from
and
All
the
Might.
same at this point, though. It's like he keeps talking about completing the quirk. It's like, well,
Not really.
I feel like the moment he claims it as his own is where it comes to full fruition.
I mean more like being his own hero kind of thing. Like
Well,
not
I think
necessarily
that's
because the
one and the
quirk,
same, though.
right? But the quirk itself, its purpose is mostly still to defeat All for One, right? So
Well, that's
that is at
specifically
least how the
they addressed
Vestiges
that
take
though.
it,
They
and I
addressed
think
that
that is
though. They
still
said
valid to a point.
Deku said that there's a greater purpose behind it.
No, that you're right. Exactly, there is.
So
So that's
I don't think it's necessarily like I don't think they're one and the same. I think they're going to be the same moment,
no.
honestly.
I think we agree on the core. I just think we
Ah.
disagree on what the form will look like. Like it's not necessarily gonna look like what we expect it to, kind
Oh,
of.
that's what you meant.
Yeah, like I think
That's
like
what
we
you meant.
generally agree on like the sort of direction, but I'm not sure what form that materializes in. Like for
Yeah.
example, if say he loses all the other quirk factors, Sans maybe super strength, well technically speaking, you can still build the quirk again, kind of how you see fit in a way. Not that he can like take other quirks, you
I
know, necessarily, but he can
I
pass
think
it
he's going to
on
reach I think
theoretically.
he's going to reach that moment of I'm searching for a word like some sort of epiphany or whatnot, like greater understanding. Like, and that's gonna be where he really comes into his own.
Yeah. It's difficult though. Yeah, there's just I see that there's a lot of different things that Horikoshi can pull from, and it's difficult for me to like commit to any one thing because like even if you like the idea of something, what shape will it take, you know? So that's sort of how where I'm at in terms of like this final encounter. I think like this chapter settles the mechanics of their interactions, like how they're going to fight, and I'm looking forward to what cool moves Deku uses to uh pass on or throw or pummel Shigaraki with one for all. I still really like that idea. I'm looking forward to seeing like what kind of moves he'll pull out to do that. But like,
It's
yeah,
so
there's that
funny, man.
whole
Like he keeps talking about like, oh, I want to save Shigaraki, and he's like, he just looks like a fucking monster
a
again.
menace, truly. Like, so no, I am very much at least looking forward to how everything will look. We'll see exactly the form that saving and winning takes. So far Horikoshi hasn't missed yet with this final arc, honestly. Like, even the parts that are like people aren't as warm on, it's like, well, those are like side character stuff, kind of, and almost obligatory. People have to have moments, kind of thing. But as far as like the main cast goes, like that's all been absolutely on fire. So, um, I'm just trying to keep an open mind to what the author is going to do. But yeah, it is definitely kind of treading that realm of like, okay, are we gonna go off the rails? Because we sort of are, but not really. Like Star and Stripe is always like an off the rails kind of thing, just the nature of her power.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, she's not done.
I do
I
like the Embers thing is not exclusive to One for All. That's kind of
No.
cool. I like that her will is that strong to where it leaves Embers. That's nice.
That's the other thing too, because of the rule that she placed that that New Order revolts against all other quirks. She was able to resist All for One's commanding hold because once the quirk gets another quirk, that vestige more or less bends to the will of the user. Now that can change. We saw that when All for One was overcome by his own vestiges briefly, but that was because that was a copy of the quirk. It was weaker. He didn't have that same commanding grip of it because he hadn't had it as long. Then there was a then there's also like now let me start over. So as far as Star goes, like she's really the only other quirk aside from One for All that can resist All for One to some degree. And I don't think that's by accident. So it's just yeah, it can get messy so easily, so quickly. But for now, there's really not much else you can do except wait. We've got a break coming up, which always kills
no.
me, but I get it. It's necessary.
Speaking of Star and Stripe, I've always felt like it was kind of a not a miss, but like a tragedy that like Star never really got to speak to All Might, and she did here technically.
I
Like,
thought
and
the
I love
same
that.
The
thing.
goat.
Yeah.
It's the
Hey,
goat.
hey,
Tarnish. I've been waiting.
Uh,
And
Trying
then,
to
What's up?
introduce you, bro.
What's up? What's up? But no,
yeah.
I thought the same thing. I was like, damn, her All Might, because she called him master. When I first read
Mhm.
the spoilers, I was like, who is saying master? But
Turns out she was a fraud for that one. She ain't
nah,
meet him.
Yeah. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. And I do like this chapter. The only thing that I don't
Welcome.
really like about this chapter is like the lack of Deku talking. But he can't breathe, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna let him
It
slide.
was very passive for him, which is a little off.
That's the only thing that I didn't really like. Like the Vestiges like took control of the whole situation, but we still have more chapters to come.
Yes.
And I'm kind of like I know Horikoshi might cut away soon, so I'm kind of looking at this as like round two. And like round one was off screened a little bit. We got like the end of round one, and then this whole thing we've been seeing is round two. And then we're gonna
Mhm.
cut away. We're gonna cut away again at some point,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna come back again.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen when like they breach the vestige world or whatnot. It's gonna be like, finally, we're in here, and then maybe you like see a little something that teases it, and then you cut to like something else, whether that's Sero.
Sero or whatever.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Aizawa. Actually,
Yeah, that Aizawa is the most like acceptable thing you could cut to. Like you need to cut to somebody relevant if you would cut away again. I'm sorry, Sero, but like you need somebody that still is like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think Sarah's gonna come back into play until they get the Karagiri situation handled.
They
Deku
might need
thinks
help.
back to like how Black Whip is so cool. I remember when I ripped off Sero and then it's cut straight to Sero.
Nah, they might need help. I'm not gonna lie. So,
Mhm.
because the last time we saw anything of that battlefield, we just saw like a figure of Ghastly with an umbrella, and then there was just like it's like he made like a bunch of clones or like minions or
So
Crawling
it's like an
babies.
army of babies around them.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah, so they probably need backup over there. So Kurogiri would help get rid of them or something. I don't
Mhm.
know. Or as Aizawa, he could just turn his quirk off. You know what? It'll probably get done like the Aoyama thing, because you know how the Aoyama
That's
fight
what I
was
said. I
it
said like
was
half a chapter, man.
yeah. Nah, but like you know how that was sandwiched between like the All Might All for One
Yeah,
Yes.
fight?
yeah.
It might be like Kurogiri and the Sero stuff sandwiched together. That's how it'll be.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Handle that and then come back for the final like round 3 of this.
I kind
Mhm.
of feel like it has to be sandwiched because then it gets rid of the both plot points at the same time, which is better
Yeah.
than focusing than switching to Sero out of
I don't
random.
know how I would feel about that, honestly, considering how, like, obviously, Sero is a classmate to Deku, but Aizawa is a big member of, like, big character in the series. Like, this plot point has been built up for
At the same time,
arcs upon
Thomas,
arcs.
Midnight's death.
Yeah, I
Neither was
get
that,
that. That's
but
the
that was
only
like
that's the
barely a
exception,
thing.
right? I don't know. I kind of wish we don't get the midnight treatment.
Shoot, don't get
But
the
who
Aoyama
knows?
treatment. Built up as a traitor, face off the consequences of Kunita.
The problem is, I felt
Invisible
satisfied
girl
with
takes his
the.
W. I would never be like
The
Aoyama.
thing is, I felt satisfied with the Aoyama conclusion. It was just the fact that I kind of wanted it to be, elongated. Here, I don't know.
Damn, bro.
When the midnight, I felt disappointed.
All right, so like I'm only like in the middle of reading the officials right now, but I still like remember what I read in the scan. So is the gist of it still that they're gonna like destroy the quirk factors in the process of doing this?
Yeah, Kudo says
Yeah.
destroy me basically, so that there's nothing left. So he's there. The process of the transfer is going to be like physically, not physically. It's an attack. It's a direct attack on the psyche via the vestige world. So
Yeah,
as the
true.
quirks pass through, they come through violently to smash at that crack in Shigaraki's
Yes.
psyche.
Like
So it's a
Kudo
psychological
said,
attack.
show me hard enough to shatter into nothing, and I'll serve as an attack without even giving him control over the power. Which might
It's
mean
kind of-
like if you shatter to nothing, then the quirk's gone, but I guess the vestige still lives as an ember.
Possibly, probably, yeah.
Nah, I'm thinking like they'll be gone. Like
Well, they have to
so-
go truly have to go through the city, to break apart that like spherical city to
Yeah,
get
we
the
have to remember the
Tenko's
concept
within.
of embers. So, like, which is just their consciousness, not
Yeah,
like
the
their
vestige will
quirk.
still live, but the quirk will be gone.
And they'll probably just fade away as things go
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah,
it's as
yeah,
good as.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure by the end of this, like the point of this will have been like no more ghosts inside his head, or not as many at least. 'Cause- I mean, he told
Probably none
Banjo
of
to
them.
he told Banjo to be with him till the end.
Or stay to keep him safe. So I
If-
say
and
like Banjo
and
would be
then-
like, "You're safe now, kid. Throw me at him, and we'll finish
All,
this."
if All Might is still living, I think the All Might vestige might stick around to some capacity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was gonna say the same thing because Yoichi and All Might they don't have real factors he could throw like this, right?
Well,
Yeah.
So that it has to at
Yoichi,
least be 2 or 1.
Yoichi technically has a factor. I think he's going.
Yeah, but it's not something he can throw at him because if he throws Yuichi at Shigaraki, what happens to One for All?
Like the entire.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's going to be the real shocking moment. It's going to be that moment where it's like, man, the hole isn't. We haven't breached far enough. We need to throw something else at it, and it's going to
So
be.
I think Yoichi's gonna be the Han Solo.
No, I don't think that's it. I don't think.
I think Yoichi being the last one to do it works because his brother was the one with the all for one, and he has to be the one that stops it completely or whatever. I think that could work.
I don't. I also don't know if the all for one quirk is going to be entirely dispersed. Like it kind of seems like maybe some quirks get destroyed, but I don't know. Like this is a point in the series where there's just so much guesswork involved.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna get anything definitive until we actually see it happen. Like this isn't like other parts of the series where like a lot of it was kind of foreshadowed and telegraphed, and it's like this is more or less what's gonna happen. And when that happened, it was satisfying to watch. This isn't really this isn't really the same thing. It's I'm getting stressed talking about it because like I'm very attached to this character. And I want him to achieve his dreams. So I think he's gonna retain a quirk of some kind.
He has to. Like, I'm hope like the super
saw-
strength is the base of what I need.
Yeah,
honestly.
we saw like the vision Endeavor had of the future. And it's like, yes, it's his imagination, but it's also Horikoshi teasing what's going to be coming at the very end. So you can't really do that. And you can't show Deku be a hero and say that and take that away. Like, no, that's not going to happen.
I don't even think you have to use that as an example. Like, unless there's a situation where it's like no more mutants, why does everyone else get to keep their quirks but Deku? Of course, Deku would 100% give up his quirk. He's asked
done it to
Miro,
Bakugo.
would you be happy if I give you my quirk? Like, what about that? And he was declined, obviously, but Deku would 100% give up one for all.
And then
However,
Thomas, he gave it to Bakugo.
that too, but me personally, I just don't think it's the right call if everyone else can still have their quirk and still be a hero.
This goes right into Deku's lack of self-worth, like his issues, seeing his accomplishments as his own. Like he keeps passing it off to like One For All. So what happens when he reaches a moment where like he can't do what he has to do unless he accepts some kind of power as his own? Like I think that's what we're heading towards. Like he's gonna have to do something where it's like he's gonna have to claim a quirk as his own to do what needs to be done.
I also see it as like he wants to give up One For All like entirely, and someone stops him, and that's when he claims One For All as his own, rather than claim a quirk as his own.
That's what I meant. Like
yeah. I just thought you meant he claims
the
order as his own. You know,
I said a quirk because really, in my mind, it's down to either he keeps power stalking or he keeps all of them. Personally, I'm hoping he keeps all of them because like it's a freaking wicked cool power set, man. Like Black Whip, Danger Sense, Fajin, Year Shift, Float.
But at the same time, he doesn't really need them at the end of the series.
Well, yeah, I mean, the
He
thing
would
is
just
that
need the
power
main
itself
one.
is not
I
what makes a hero. So
I don't think he necessarily needs them, but like you got to keep in mind, this is shonen. Hype is always the key factor. So it's like
I don't know. I just don't think Horikoshi is going directly for all of the traditional shonen.
Yeah, we can't really say it's a shonen when he was the first to break the shonen, like in My Villain Academia.
I mean, like
everyone said.
I mean, just think about it though. It's like if all these other characters are getting power-ups or whatnot, like I don't think you really end with stripping power away from your MC. I just think that's what the series is like, honestly.
Well,
so my stance on this is that we know that the Vestiges are awake. We had the Vestiges choose to come back to Deku in Heroes Rising. We know that that was going to be a part, like that was going to be the original ending. So the real question is that do we just have in the smattering of Shigaraki, the Vestiges, or at least the quirk factors return to Deku? Like the Embers come back to Deku for a final message, but in the process of the Embers returning, he gets his quirks back. Because I do agree that the idea of Deku ending the series debuffed while everybody gets to be way stronger is kind of sad. Like, I agree. I support the Pyrrhic victory, but that kind of Pyrrhic victory is just a little harsh.
Yeah,
for our boy.
Like we've seen that Phosphor isn't even completed. Like Shoro still has to complete that. He can be a hero in the future. The same with Uraraka. She got a quirk like awakening. Like
Bakugo and his side effect.
Yeah, it's like if all of them
even
can have these upgrades.
don't sleep on Ida. He low key ran across Japan in like what was
He
it?
surpassed the speed of
yeah.
sound. Like all
10
these
minutes.
people got all these
Tokoyami
upgrades, and they can grow
everybody.
better as heroes. And Deku's the one who loses one for all. It's not only upsetting, but it
But
feels
at the same time,
kind of lame.
At the same time, it's not like a
care.
sports team, you know? Like,
I
He-
in
kind
terms
of
of the narrative and all,
Ultimately,
it's
the
not
thing with Horikoshi is he's a big softie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a huge softie. Like, I think another writer would have left Mirio quirkless forever, but he brought him back because he's like, no, I want to give him his shot. I want to let him be a hero.
Yeah.
So it's like, for his main character, like, I know people joke that, like, oh, he doesn't really care about Deku. It's like, I mean, you gotta understand, he draws Deku like all the time. So like, it's not.
He treasures him.
Yeah.
He
So
put
it's,
his childhood into Deku, quite literally.
Yes.
yeah. Exactly. So he's gonna leave him with something. He's gonna leave him with something.
I think so too.
And
You
also,
know, it's gonna be Black Whip. What's
yeah.
the last?
I
one.
think Deku just
I'd be down
needs
for that.
either just the base quirk or black whip. He doesn't need the rest to me.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, Deku with just the base folds 99% of the base verse in My Hero because everyone else are bums compared to most people.
I will say,
at the end
I
of the
selfishly
day,
think he should have Black Whip at least because that's a
Yeah,
really
right?
cool.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
he
Black
Selfishly,
whip
you
at the
know?
very
if
least
he
is
ends
fine.
up with
I mean,
anything,
It's like, all right,
like,
everyone
I-
else can go but you.
even the
No,
thing with even the thing with Black Whip though is it's just a little awkward to me that like this gets his stay, but the rest are gone.
No, he
Yeah.
uses black. Look.
That's
he
why I
used
don't
Black
really
Whip.
believe it. But
He used
you know,
Black Whip to
selfishly, I'm
replicate
like,
almost any of the quirks. You need smoke screen, really thin Black Whip tendrils that diffuse the light. Just spread them out over the whip. Oh, you need danger sense, real tiny Black Whip
You
threads
need
that
float.
you
You
just
can hold
stretch
yourself
out.
up with the
That give
strands.
so like
Yeah.
nope, even better. You make a little helicopter out of Black Whip.
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
Jack of all trades. Yo,
Yeah,
listen, I
yeah.
think at the end of the day, I think what we're also forgetting is that like even the base super strength is gonna be higher than All Might's at the
Yes.
end of the day.
Yeah.
So
True.
he's still gonna be stronger than All Might, bare
Yeah.
minimum, like
That's
way
why I said it
stronger than
does
him.
better than most people. He one-shotted Muscular with little to no effort. And Muscular is a A tier according to the guidebooks. Like there's not much S tiers in the verse anymore.
I mean, Muscular, like it's not crazy for Muscular to be A tier because he does easy clap a substantial chunk of
Yeah.
heroes.
I agree.
Just,
I thought he was S tier until Hori said he was A tier.
I'd argue Bakugo is very much S tier now. Like,
Absolutely.
oh yeah, Bakugo, Shoto,
Yeah, the heroes to me are always going to be the
Uraraka.
higher tier because they actually get to train. Whereas the poor
Nah,
bums like the villains, they're gonna be dog shit.
Nah, Ida is S tier.
Hell
Nah,
yeah,
I'm
man.
not. I'm not sleeping on his feet
Hell
this
yeah.
arc.
Eda's
not
top
sleeping
5
on
to
that.
me. Top 5 in 1A.
he's an S tier who is forced to perform as an A tier.
Yes, for real.
He literally ran across Japan, bro.
Yeah. I get that we are kind of like. I think we are all generally agree that like he's gonna. It's like that Denzel Washington video where he's talking to who was it? Jamie Foxx. It's like, I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
yeah.
Like I'm leaving with something.
like we need him to
I
have
think-
something. Like it's
having like
Yeah.
again, you're right. Like you're right. Like All Might at 100% of his power was still All Might. So you know, I think Deku will at the very least be able to work his way up to 100% without any assistance from faux 100% stuff.
Yeah.
So
You,
I
you
think
know
that's
the
nice.
you know the only thing about a quirkless ending that I might actually like. The only thing that I would like out of a quirkless ending is the idea of like just going back to the beginning afterwards, because it would be like, yo, Hero Society really needed this quirkless boy to get power to save the day,
Yeah.
and then he lost it at the end. That's the only thing that I would think is a little bit cool about it. It's like, yo, he was really quirkless, and they gave
showed
him
up,
like
Did what he
all the
needed to do.
power left.
don't forget he chewed some bubble gum.
Right?
But there, yeah, like there is a bit of a this is why you should have valued the quirkless because there was always
Yeah.
that potential for them to have the bravest heart, be the
Mhm.
most willing to sacrifice, etc. I just also think that for the sake of and obviously Deku's goals changed throughout the series. Like he went from wanting to be All Might to wanting to just be like the greatest hero to kind of just wanting to be a great hero. And like
Yeah.
we saw like stuff like his goals kind of moved down and but that was also a reflection of his self-esteem getting damaged throughout the series. So and while yes, he's a teenager, so he'll have extra time to navigate and get over it. Deku kind of reminds me of Ichigo
Yes.
in the sense that even if Deku was like, I can give up one for all right now, 17 months later, he's going to see his friends go out to save someone, be sitting at his desk, and not for the thrill of the hunt, but because he wants to be by their side,
You'll see
wishing
an
he
All
still had one
Might
for all.
moment with Deku where All Might is constantly like, damn, I may not have my quirk, but I still want to be out there. I still want to save people. I still want to do this and that. Like what
Yeah.
happened with Bakugo Shoto. All Might jumped in to save a girl, and then
Wait.
Bakugo had to reprimand them. Be like, you want to die? Do it yourself. Do it outside
Yeah.
here.
Wait.
Deku's
So
gonna have that
what
moment.
if it's quirkless ending and it's like what we said, like, oh, he was quirkless and he got the power to save everybody, blah blah blah. But then it ends with Iron Deku.
I wouldn't mind it. As I think there's ways you can make a quirkless ending work.
Absolutely.
It just comes down to people already have some notions of they
But
don't want it, so it already dampens it. So I keep an
the
open mind.
the only reason I'm suggesting this is because of Iron Might and him replicating one in.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing with Iron Might. I'm glad you brought this up. And like this is what people have said to me is like, oh well, this proves that Deku could have been a hero without a quirk.
What if he
That was
does it?
20 minutes of combat time. Okay. That was 20 minutes of combat time.
If
That
that.
cost All Might's entire fortune across 40 years of hero work as the #1 hero. For 20 minutes combat time. And like, yes, he was up against All for One. Yes. But just to think what upkeep would be like, since you've established this now, just think about what upkeep would be like for your average day battling villains.
I think Deku could figure it out. He's a smart kid. If he's forced to learn that, I think Deku could actually figure out technology and stuff.
I think that's just taken it a little too far because one of the things I actually really like about MHA is how nerfed technology is. Because even Iron Might,
Technology in this bitch is overpowered.
It only got really overpowered in the
dude.
final arc. In the final
No,
arc.
dude.
That's
Hold
when it
on.
got
Every
world is-
support item has been goaded.
I
tech
think
in
you
this
guys
world-
are both speaking of the tech and extremes because I would say tech is nerfed in the sense that it's not nearly as game breaking as it is in Marvel, sure. But I also can't say tech is but saying tech is nerfed seems disingenuous to how
Yeah.
good some of the tech is.
I mean, look at the
I
first
think
movie.
tech can
We've seen
easily
how
make you a
good
B tier hero based off tech.
But we've
Like-
seen how good the tech can be from the first movie in Iron Island. Like
Right,
it has
and-
improved a lot.
One of the funny things that I actually saw recently is that I follow this girl who talks about her life in Japan because she talks about a lot of the cultural stuff. And people always get mad at her because she's like, oh, well, I do like traditional kimono stuff. And they're like, you're not a real Japanese person. And she's like,
Yeah.
I fucking live here and my parents are Japanese and I do kimono work. And they're like, technologically advanced. She's like, 70% of Japanese jobs still want you to use a fax machine. And I feel like when we emphasize the fact that like the jets in the US came in with fucking laser beams.
Yeah.
And like while it seems like the prison guard robots were using ballistic rounds still, Japan itself does not seem to be technologically superior to the rest of the world. If anything, they seem kind of behind as far as the US. But I don't think the US military budget is going to be invested in Deku. I think that what will end up happening is that in this, if we go with this scenario, is let me see if I can find her name. But if I don't find her name during the stream, just DM me on Twitter and I'll try to find her then.
Mhm.
But she's
Tanasia follows her.
oh, that then perfect.
W.
But there's a balance here where tech can let you fight a lot of low grade heroes. Like Iron Mike could probably low diff Cider House.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like Deku doesn't need to fight twice on the regular. He needs to. Most people in my hero are bum ass villains. That's why most pro heroes can fold pretty much most people normally. That's why the background heroes in this are so OP, because they are actually trained. The villains are not. Like Deku has actual training under his experience, and he just needs to fight the bums.
By the way,
Or if
Tanisha put
anything,
in
focus on
Yep, that's the
saving
right name.
people.
Mhm. I also will point out what I can't believe you done this said. MHA tech only gets high tier though when it's working with a good quirk, or if you have a crap ton of money. Like, is there a wearable support item besides Iron Mite that can 1v1 overhaul? Well, overhaul before he lost his hands,
Yeah,
but
it's
still
called a
great.
gun.
Yeah, but
The
we
Blick. The
guns
Blick.
come with
My
shit with MHA.
Blicky.
Yeah, if Muscular could get it, not Muscular, Mustard. That boy had the Blick.
Mustard was about to kill Tetu. That says
That boy had the Blick.
Mhm.
He pulled out the revolver. It's like, what you gonna do now, bitch? And you got
Fuck,
stomped to
fuck.
the ground.
fuck all these quirks. And he had mustard gas, so it's like you already have a
I mean,
toxin.
that interaction is funny as well because it's like it does kind of show that like that like reliance on one thing or the other does not necessarily guarantee victory. It's like it's just logical. He just brought out that gun thinking like, yeah, I got a surefire way to victory. Meanwhile, these kids have been like training in the country's best hero training program, so it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna take care of you once they can get to you pretty fast.
Also, another note to add to the technology thing, Shinso, when his quirk isn't going to work, he's basically a quirkless person with training. Deku can literally do the same thing as him.
I mean, Aizawa is
But
the
with
best
tech.
example. That's the next step.
Exactly,
Like,
but that's what I mean. It's like, if you're able to hand-to-hand fight people, then
Martial arts is all
there's
you
still
need.
gun-hand martial arts. That's all you need in this
Legit.
world.
Martial
And you're good.
arts.
Yeah.
Yo, I low-key hate how like MHA is one of the only verses without consistent martial arts. Like imagine if people was really like fighting consistently without quirks sometimes. Oh, hell, a little different. And then
The
they
fact
use
that
their
every
quirks
strength
with the
quirk
martial
just doesn't
arts.
wrestle is insane to me.
If Shoto pulled up some like Zuko stuff, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
mhm.
Like it would make it too similar to
I
other
think this
anime.
also veers into the
Yeah.
conversation too of like I don't know if that's necessarily great for Bakugo's end either, if he's like kind of handed number one because Deku had to give some stuff up.
Don't worry. Shoto's
Because I
got
think
it.
he just ends up in the same position as Endeavor, more or less.
Yeah, Shoto's got it. Shoto's going to be number one. Popularity polls are still a thing. Bakugo ain't winning
I
shit.
also think that the popular, like the hero, ranking, etc., like number one hero, second in command. I think that'll be, shredded to pieces.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I've seen people talk about like, oh, the hero ranking system needs to be abolished. It's emblematic. It's like it causes so many problems. I'm like,
Ow.
is it?
It
Does
kind
it?
of doesn't, because Endeavor, based off pure hard work, made it to number 2.
Yeah.
It's just
Exactly.
everyone's lazy as fuck. Take your Roy Musha.
Like the thing with the rankings is like people conflate it with like societal issues, and I'm like, that was never the point behind the ranking system. It was literally just how good are you at your job and appealing to fans.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
That's all it
what?
was.
The only issue with the hero ranking system was And this still would have happened, I think, even without official hero rankings. Keep that in mind.
Right. People
It's
like
like
this stuff.
the pervasiveness of the commercialism of heroes and how it led to people doing
Yep.
like becoming heroes, but for the wrong reasons. Like you're becoming a hero because you're like, ooh, I'm double cheeked up with a solid quirk. I can fight petty grade criminals
I
and
just got a
do
brand
photo
deal.
shoots.
I just got a brand deal with a new perfume, and I'm gonna get like 200 million yen in my account at the end of the month. It's like that was really what the reasoning behind a lot of heroes were.
Yeah. Like, and that was even Mount Lady's initial, like that was like the point of her journey, right? Is that she's like,
Yeah.
look at me, I'm cheeked up and I'm super tall lady, I can step on you, and blah blah blah. And then it turned into her becoming a better and better hero with better and better intentions. That like so the ranking system made it easier for somebody to be like, I'm the number 20th hero. Don't you want to be like me? And it's like, well, that's not what you're supposed to be here for. And so
Hey man, if they want the
But-
bag, I support it.
But if Japan didn't come out and say, this is the top hero, you better believe there would have been just as much agenda piece online.
Just look at Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
we don't need
Scaling
help. Or rather, we
Edgeshot.
need help, but we need saving from ourselves, kind of thing.
Because like you think inverse, there's not somebody calling the Edgeshot G-string right now? There
I was
is.
just about to bring up Edgeshot. I was about to say, how y'all feel about Worm
Let that
Shot?
nigga
I
die.
don't like it. I
He's
really
living
don't
till
like
the
it.
end. I am standing on that.
Bro,
Worm Shot,
bro is
bro.
living just to go be a thong. This is
I've
ridiculous.
gotten rid of my Uma death flag.
That's
All my heroes
disrespectful.
have lived.
I think killing him would be mercy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's disrespectful to force him to live his life like that.
Like, what type of sacrifice was that?
Bro's
This
about to be a
man's-
pet. I'm sick.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
let him be a pet.
Bro is the male version of Would You Love Me If I Was a Worm? Come on now.
Legit.
Don't do
I mean,
him like
in
that.
in the My Hero verse, it actually works. You have a Lego dude, like he can make it work.
Would you love me if my head was a Lego
And I bet
piece?
he only gets leg hoes. So, like, it is
He
what
would
it
have to
is.
make
It works.
Yo, what do y'all think would happen to him if Shiggy took his quirk right now? Like, what is the science of this?
He
right
like
now?
turns back to
He
normal.
just dies.
He unravels. Damn, that'd be fucking gross.
How- Yo, I don't know how he's functioning, bro. This is
I don't know
this is
either.
crazy. This is crazy.
He's the best doctor. You don't think he's
Yo.
patched himself up?
Bro, he got the nerve to tell All Might, yo, if you don't stay awake, you're gonna die.
What about you?
Nigga,
Exactly.
You still a worm. Why are you even breathing? Worms don't have lungs, bro.
Because like
Yo, this is crazy.
This slander will be brought back at the end of the series. I will come back to this. There's a pin in this.
Because like one of the reasons why I was
That pin
really
is thicker
on
than
board,
Edgeshot right now. So, okay.
legit. The only reason why I was on board with the Bakugo situation, although like I loved everything that came after with Bakugo's fight, was Edgeshot like, you know, giving up his life. And here, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I
He's
don't
a
like
part
it.
of my roster now. My roster hasn't died. I'm gonna say in months, man. I've been chilling. Maybe even a year. It's been that long since a character of mine has died. I'm on a streak. Edgeshot is not ending this shit. The curse has been lifted.
Damn, people are taking the callback at the end out of context. They're like, people are saying like, oh, why are they glorifying Deku's worst moment? Like when he was on the streets, and people said that he didn't look like a hero. Like, why are they trying to make it something triumphant now?
I see it very similar to back in the previous war where Baku is like flying up to help Deku, and he thinks back to I'm the Deku always does my best. And it's like it flips it from triumphant to kind of
Fucking
tragic.
terrifying.
Yeah. And here I see this, I see what you mean. It's kind of like a flip of that.
I look at it as much as people could say, oh, like, why are they glorifying it? I don't know, maybe because being a hero that isn't concerned about your appearance but getting the job done is actually
Mhm.
important.
Agreed.
Like, maybe the fact that he's not like, oh, I need to look like all my no. If I
I'm
gotta
on
look
camera.
like, if I gotta look like I'm on demon time to whoop this demon. I'ma look like I'm on demon
Do
time.
they think Deku, like the one thing that's going through Deku's mind is, fuck, this is gonna screw up my skin? No.
Like he's not worried about being dripped out. This man is shirtless. This is a battle of two shirtless niggas. This is skins versus skins. They're not even playing the sports right. Like, what are you saying?
Deku is being
Fucking
Goku
Endeavor for a
here. He
reason,
got rid
man.
of his top.
Nah, Shigaraki's design has been so raw since he took his body back. Like
With the
those
skin
pet,
tape.
the skin cape is a little nasty, but
It's
like
so cool though.
just
Like
how
it's
he
easy to
looks.
not think of until like you really got to look at it, and you're like, oh, bro, please.
Like he literally shedded his skin, but like no, like the way his muscles look, like the lines on it, and so like those panels of him just walking in the air. Because this is like the third one we've gotten of this. Like, bro's really just been flying, just walking.
Like he's puppeteering
And-
himself now, basically. It's like a
Yeah.
combination of Black Whip and Float. I think Float is going to be one of the last ones to go, honestly.
Mhm.
Nah,
think
Float has
Float
to
has-
go. First of all, he never even needed Float, if we're being honest. All Might was always flying.
Yeah, facts.
We always
Facts,
said
facts.
that.
It's facts.
It does help here though, because like it's keeping him suspended above the ground where Shigaraki can reach him.
I agree. It's had its uses, but like it was never like one of those quirks where it was like, oh, Deku's got this new quirk. It's called Float. Like it was never like that. It was like, well, he's been flying.
Yeah, it's one of his bottom two quirks.
And I like how Ed acknowledged that his was the trashiest this chapter too. And they said, well,
Mhm.
if anyone should sacrifice themselves, it should be me.
So
I
like,
mean,
That's
to
are
be
you
fair,
scared anyway?
Smokescreen has been really cool. Like
He's scared as
Deku,
hell.
people like to downplay Smokescreen, but Smokescreen's sick.
Bro,
Like, it's
it's a
really
fucking
cool.
cloud, bro.
It's
the
so
coolest thing he
cool.
did with Smokescreen was that
Yo,
shit where he
yeah.
applied gear shift to
Yes, exactly.
it. But
Yeah.
In
Deku
this
likes
battle,
Smokescreen.
Mhm,
they even
exactly.
made it like the thing is they made it a point to emphasize though that due to search, Smokescreen not even clutching it.
Mhm.
It's not. And he's the one that called that shit out too. So he
I also like what Kudo said about gear shift is that yeah, Smokescreen's also useless, but so is gear shift to Deku.
That's
Deku
cap.
can't use it anymore.
Yeah, that is a
Yeah.
really cool observation. That's just such a cool way to shake up the fight. It's like, okay, gear shift lets you be overpowered, but also it freaking sucks when you
Yes,
know,
exactly.
whiff.
it's
So
it's just
that's actually a really
such
cool
an-
way to get rid of the debuff.
It's such an unnatural quirk at this point though. Like I feel like Gear Shift is probably the most unnatural quirk we've seen because it's literally a first generation quirk, like on drugs. So
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
especially now.
Fajin's also a first generation quirk that's almost on drugs. Gear shift is just another level.
Right.
But I also like Seth said it's very interesting.
Fajin. The thing about Fajin, like Fajin at the end of the day, it's really just like a multiplier. Like Gear Shift can do several different like reality
Slowing
breaking
someone
things.
down is insanity.
Well, yeah,
Like
gear
in-
shift plus Fajin too, like speeding up and adding Fajin to it. That's like, dude, like missile level.
Mhm.
Blow
I
yourself
want
up.
Deku to like just apply Fajin to an air bullet and just watch it just rip through. But he
Exactly.
like fuck it, we don't need to do all that. I guess it's like the like gear shift plus Fajin into an air force blast. That should have just
That could
erased.
have been Deku's like final Kamehameha on Shigaraki.
Like
Yeah, bro. The way he punched his arm off last chapter too, like crazy stuff.
and that's the thing is that he's like disintegrating this man with his blows. So if it weren't for the fact that he wants to save that man,
Oh, he's gone. He's 100% gone. Shigaraki, you
Nah,
said it. Like,
not a-
yo,
not-
you could have
not
killed me,
100%, yo.
my guy.
I could be
End of my
made to
life.
believe it just because of
Nah.
how insane the, like conceptually it's difficult to imagine. So I can kind
Yeah.
of believe it. Like even Shigaraki is like, yo, that might actually be a problem if you were actually
Nah.
trying to kill me. And so
That's the one time he could have. I feel like now that
Mhm.
Shiggy's aware he can move like that, he adapted to it a
Yep.
little bit. Cause,
yeah,
'cause,
maybe. Mhm.
Because Kudos this chapter, he's still talking like Deku's on the back foot. So I'm like, he has something over him a little bit.
Life
But
is
Deku
tough. You
is
got
on the
someone
back
you
foot.
wanna
moment-
protect.
in that moment though, where he wasn't expecting that, if he went for the head, yeah, it would have been wraps right there.
Well,
Deku
yeah,
always
and
is
you
on
have
the
to remember that
battlefield.
now the gear shift drawback is what's kicking in right now for Deku, so he might actually not be able to reach that same height right now. So
Mhm.
that's
I
He
also
has to
think it's
get rid of gear shift.
the other thing I think is kind of interesting about this fight is that the only time Shigaraki feels like it feels like Shigaraki even has an advantage in this fight is when Deku's dealing with blowback for the
Yes.
most part.
I do wonder like how long is the blowback? Because like let's just say Deku wasn't using gear shift against like an opponent. He defeated his opponent and then like he was suffering from the blowback. The only way for him to survive would be giving away gear shift or just wait until like the blowback ends and possibly survive. Because that's scary.
Nah, that quirk is not viable in everyday use.
Mhm.
you know
You gotta
what?
use it
Gear
once and once
shift,
only.
gear shift, like
I think if gear shift was trained, it could be because Deku hasn't really trained gear shift.
Yeah, he had to use
Like,
it
look
on-
at Ida.
on-
Ida went from running all the way to class to running across the fucking
Yeah,
not city,
country.
but
Yeah,
country of
this-
Japan.
Country.
This series establishes that when there's like a defined limit, when a person like uses something, that limit can always be increased.
Yeah. So if gear shift was like trained, it would be a decimating quirk.
I mean, I'm
especially
sure
now.
that. I mean, I'm sure if Deku wanted to, for real, like if we being honest, this man.
But at
could
the same
just
time,
put-
he wouldn't need to with how broken he is.
he could put Black Whip around his lungs and just keep squeezing, and you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. I mean, yeah.
Nah. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I'm fine with him just keeping Black Whip because you know what?
I
That was
agree.
the first. That was the first quirk he got. The last one he keeps. All comes full
Also, he's
circle.
the most experienced with it too, because like during Black Hero or Dark Hero, he was using it 24/7. So
I
he's
also want to believe that Banjo, even if like he knew he'd have to, tell Deku, yo, send me at him, he'd be like, I'm too attached to this kid. Or stay.
Yeah, it's like he been
Banjo's
with
the
him
cool
since the
uncle.
beginning.
Mhm.
Like Banjo wants the best, bro. He just wants the best for our little dude.
Yo, and you know what? Banjo is the only one who said, "Yo, I'm not gonna, disrespect you."
I mean, Kudo did disrespect him.
Kudo out here looking through his
history.
memories, looking through his
Exactly.
memories and shit. Banjo was the only one who said, "Yo, I'm not going to do that."
Banjo is kind of like the Kirishima of the One for All group. Like he's kind of like the jovial guy who keeps everybody together.
He's the cool uncle.
Banjo's a black uncle from the South.
And the end is like his son.
Yeah.
who's not like him. Who's not like him. Like he wanted him to be like him, but he's not.
Did you catch like when N was like he was kind of scared a few chapters ago? Like Banjo's
He's
just
still
looking at
scared.
him
Right, dudes?
like he's just looking at him like, dude, this is not the time to break down. Like, like
do it in private.
Suck it up.
I'll cheer you up later. Just not now.
Yeah.
Because
Like
he was
I
talking
said-
about some. He was talking about some. We need to get out of here. Where are we going? Where
America.
are we going?
That led to so much slander, dude.
But like I said earlier, he is the Yamcha of the Vestiges.
Yamcha's on the comeback. Careful with that.
Honestly, like people compare this series to a lot of other things, and he draws from a lot of influences. But I think it's not only the Star Wars stuff. A lot of this series feels very Dragon Ball-ish to me, like that theme of family, and Bakugo is basically New Age Vegeta.
Yes.
So I see it
What's
taking a
left
lot
outside?
of
that
taking
is
a-
some pretty
I would compare
heavy
Bakugo to
allocation.
Vegeta more than almost any other like rival deuteragonist from the past 10 years.
Yeah, actually, you know why I would agree to that? Because I was thinking about it too. Like, kind of. But you know what? Horikoshi outright said that All Might is inspired by Goku. So
Well, I don't know, because it's like
I'm sure
Bakugo is like
I'm sure
the
Bakugo could be like based on an early version of Vegeta, maybe, something like that.
yeah.
After he
I
was
was
like,
gonna
I
say
can't
like
make Bakugo
Vegeta's
kind.
way too
This
calm
sounds like
for
fun Twitter
Bakugo.
discourse.
Like
Hold
the
on,
only thing
Vegeta
they
is
have
not calm. Let's
that
not.
that
Let's not.
boy is calm. They're fucking friendly chatting with each other in the current chapter.
Yeah, see, you're looking at Super Vegeta. You got.
It's canon Vegeta.
Super.
But-
I get transformation right there. Yeah.
But
Um,
you gotta
Aniki,
go.
do you
Like, if
mind
you
if I
go
get my
back.
piece in before I have
Oh
to?
yeah. Go ahead, Seth. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah,
You're
I
good.
have
You're good.
to skedaddle soon. So I was just gonna give up some closing thoughts on the chapter.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, as always, thanks for having me, guys. It's always fun to chat with you. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, man, we love having you here. You're a goat.
Thank you. Let's see. So, going over, I'm not sure I have anything to add what hasn't already been said, but I think I'll say that I really like the stakes and the level of investment that we have in the main character. I'm trying to think of, other examples of shonen where, we're like this committed to whatever the fate of the main protagonist is. And honestly, a lot of shonen kind of tend to jump the shark to a point where it's like, okay, so whatever kind of happens. I just remember feeling that way with several other of the major ones, whether it's Naruto or Bleach. It's like I don't remember being this caught up in how the protagonist makes it out because they kind of sort of were who they were at that point in the story. Like I wasn't really expecting any dramatic change or defeat, or they were just going to do what they set out to do.
Yeah.
And to a point, that's true for Deku. Like, I'm pretty confident that he is, in fact, going to save Tenko. Um, I think, like, we all understand the overall direction of the story, but, like, his actual fate, the actual, like, aftermath, any consequences he faces, I think we're all strapped in. And that's really refreshing to me. Just, being this hooked on what could happen in the final moment. So honestly, props to Horikoshi. Even if I don't agree with how things turn out, I will say that it's been quite the ride, and I've enjoyed just being here for it. For the chapter itself, let's see. Yeah, I am a little concerned about All Might just casually slipping away into the vestige. I've always kind of thought that shadow, that vestige of his would someday be able to speak. I just hope that doesn't come at the cost of, All Might's actual life. But I do think that'll be cool if All for One does resurge as we all expect him to somehow, that All Might's vestige shows up. And I'm not sure what goes down between them, but I'm here for that. It's actually kind of wild how you can still find something that could pop up unexpectedly like that. I mean, it might not happen the way I expected, but just like that's kind of still sitting there. Let's see. But that's just how the chapter opens. So Kudo basically spends a chapter defining the mechanics of the fight going forward. We'll see how much Deku can stick to that. Like Volk said, like things can still very much go off the rails in ways we don't expect. However, that said, I do expect that just the way it's been defined, it really does seem like he will lose most, if not all, of these quirks. I do expect Deku to go beyond, like as far as he can. That's sort of in his character. But that also depends on his development from the Dark Deku arc. I still expect him to draw strength from what he learned from his friends. And I'm hoping that also allows him to keep at least super strength, So what form that takes afterwards, how he completes All for One for All, or how he makes his power zone, or just how he copes with giving it up, because possibly giving it up. Like all of that is really interesting. And, I just want to say I'm very happy to be experiencing this story with everyone because this has been really exciting to read week after week. So, however happens, I guess. I know I'll still be very happy with the series overall. But it definitely keeps you on your toes. So Yeah, I think that's about it for me this week. So thanks, guys.
All
right, man.
I think I'm in the same camp as you as are. I don't think the story, like, I don't think there's anything. I don't want to say that because monkey's paw and all, but I don't really think that I could come away from this story disappointed in it. Obviously, part of that is the community we have going here and the time we all share together, but also just in general, it's a story that I actually genuinely enjoy. And I don't see anything happening in these last 20, 30 chapters that's going to make me go, shit, it's ass. It's all ass.
Game of Thrones.
Nothing but regrettios.
A lot
Yeah.
of people did that with AOT, and I'm gonna be honest, I think that was pretty over the top.
AOT was justified. I'll always say that.
I've said this and I'll say it again. The AOT thing was super confusing for me because I was like, yeah, Aaron's doing the right thing. Like, he's doing what he's got to do. The Attack Titan's power, blah, blah, blah. This all makes sense. And then I was like, oh, you guys just wanted genocide. I guess I showed up to the wrong party.
Yeah. The
Like,
Jaeger.
I was like, you guys did. Like, I was like, we were two different types of Jaegers because I was like, I'm Team Aaron because I trust that my boy's doing this for the right reasons. And other people were like, getting an MC that's willing to wipe out all of humanity is wrong. And I was like, oh shit. Y'all are cut from an entirely different cloth than me. That is crazy.
I mean, people make fun of like Connie saving the world panel, but like even that is followed up by I forget her name, but she's like, yeah, that's like the story is directly calling that stuff out too. So it's like I think but anyway, that's just an example of people's expectations kind of running away from them because they focus on certain details and make that out to be the whole thing instead of appreciating the story for what it is.
The Chad Aaron.
Yeah,
on that note, because like it was mentioned earlier that like I think I forget who said it, but I think that My Hero's Ending is gonna create controversy. Has there ever been like a long-ish running manga series whose ending didn't create controversy? Because like I haven't read all that many, but I know like at worst I found that Demon Slayers just kind of missed the mark for me, but I wouldn't say it was like I see what they were going for, it just didn't hit for me.
Honestly, Haikyuu ended and everybody was like really positive on it. Like that's what springs to my mind.
So, but
Also,
the controversy with
I
Haikyuu is coming
guarantee
with the movie.
It's gonna sound weird, but I think that sports manga are a lot easier to wrap up for people to be happy with.
Yeah.
Than these type like straight up action series.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's not much you can really fumble with like sports anime. Like it's always like, oh no, he lost, or like it's something about winning or losing in there. It's not really much.
Yes. Somebody named Lisa Wallen once made this tweet, and I kind of have to agree with it. It's like it's kind of impossible to spoil sports anime.
And then he scored another goal. He did that an arc ago.
Yeah. Although I will say it is a little different when you get into something like Blue Lock, which is not specifically sports. It's more like a survival game that's masquerading as a sports series. So
every panel that I've seen posted on Twitter is like, I thought this was about
it's
soccer.
the most ridiculous shit, man. It's like
I'm going to impregnate this. Like, bro, what are you talking about? This is soccer.
It makes Air Gear seem rational.
Look, Air Gear is rational once you know all the rules.
Air Gear just operates on a different frequency. Okay, it fully makes sense. I still recommend people read that series because it is so freaking fun.
They did have a 1-season anime.
The anime also did not cover the crazy shit. Like they deliberately ended it right when it like really got into the sci-fi stuff, and it's like, okay, we're gonna make like an anime original ending, and we are not going further with this because that is a lot of time to animate all that.
Yeah, the Devil's 30-30 isn't a bad ending at all, but it's also before things get crazy.
Yeah, Trippy Kuroko was good.
Look,
Like, bro, the final battles take place on an aircraft carrier and on a giant like
fucking
tower
space
that
elevator.
space elevator that extends into the sky. And the main antagonist's plan is to give everybody nuclear codes, essentially.
Yeah.
That's specifically why it's such a problem. When I say everybody, I mean everybody, like even
Hell yeah.
criminals and terrorist organizations.
Hell yeah.
Yo, real quick. So how do y'all think he's gonna transfer the quirks? Think a hole's gonna open up in his hand? Like
I mean,
the
he's bleeding
Yoichi-
right. He's bleeding right now.
Yeah, I was
so-
thinking he's gonna do it via blood. I mean, that's how he did it with
He
Bakugo.
also made
Just do it with
his like
Shigaraki.
nails sharp. I feel like
Doesn't
he's
the
gonna
other
scratch.
person have to accept it though, or am I
Well,
misremembering that part?
I was also speculating about this before you arrived, Tarnish. You see, like the little sparkle in his hand that like signifies like gear shift, like he's preparing to transfer it. I was
Yeah.
speculating like maybe his quirk is going to evolve and like he forms the all for one.
Yeah,
in
the
his palms.
whole because that would come full circle with Yoichi, like that they do have the same quirk. His just couldn't grow all the way, so he only got like half of it.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
you
he
got
was
the transfer part, but not the give and take part. Yeah, that could work because of
They were
how
twins.
how malnourished he was in the womb.
yeah. Yuichi never got to fully develop his quirk, which is why he was so weak.
Okay,
All
so
for
it's
one
also
basically stole all the nutrients, and that's why he was kind of like running out of the gate.
All for One was a 90-pound baby, bro. He was taking everything, man.
that was also why though I was wondering if we kind of get that like pulling back because it's creating a vacuum. And if the quirk is actually developing the transfer quirk, something about the transfer quirk has to kind of get juiced too, right? Like every other quirk gets to be juiced, but that one, that almost seems counterintuitive towards what we've had, like with every other aspect of One for All has gotten stronger. But the quirk that impacts and is the reason why it has access to the Vestiges realm has gotten no benefits.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
100 years cooking, 100 years in a perpetual soup, and you ain't got no spice. Come on now.
Yeah, there's this theory I just read on Twitter. It said that Deku figured out how to puppeteer his body with Black Whip after his experience with Dictator, because he was on the floor and he couldn't move, and the way Dictator was moving those people around, just learning from his trauma.
Bro, he saw Dictator for like 2 seconds. No fucking way, bro.
Hey, that's in the time.
I'll never forget you hyping him up, Tarnish.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the next assassin.
I remember the.
I mean, he got
hash-
folded in the same chapter he was introduced in, so fuck
I
it.
remember all the Hash Flynn and Slasher jokes from when he first showed up in Silhouette.
Hold on,
That's
hold
what he
on.
is.
Yeah. I gotta sidetrack this conversation just a little bit
It's all right.
because I was on Twitter. Bro, why is Nicki Minaj dropping a track called Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
okay.
listen.
I heard about this.
It's not what she thinks it is. Listen, she thinks pretty much. I don't even know the full situation, but from what I've seen, she's just trying to have this old school rap battle with Megan Thee Stallion, and Megan Thee Stallion is not on the same page.
Like,
Pretty much.
What I've seen, again, this is like far from my typical area of expertise, but like Megan Thee Stallion is like, okay, have fun with that. I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah, but Nikki is still like going on with it, like trying to make it a big thing, and I don't know. People are calling her like an old granny, like, yo, you need to grow up. Like, what are you doing?
hey, you know what makes it extra ratchet though? The screenshot she's using is the left foot, which is in fact the foot that she was Meg was
They got shot.
Yes.
I knew it. I figured that.
I was like,
like,
bro,
yeah.
what the? Like, I just saw Bigfoot dropping tomorrow, and I was like, what is this? Bro.
Just the celebrities being dickhead celebrities. Usual. But you know, Nicki's fans go crazy though, so it might last for a few days, maybe.
Dude, like, I'm still laughing about that idiot who posted the AI porn.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Oh
and-
my
Yeah, you don't mess
goodness.
with the Swifties, bro.
Okay.
They
Yo, I'm
are
not gonna lie. I'm
number
gonna be
one
honest.
army.
I'm gonna be honest. I know this is a safe space. I'm not saying that wasn't wrong or anything. It absolutely was. But I'm just like, they've been making AI porn. They've been doing that a little bit.
Look, I mean, I think it's different when it's like an actual person. And it's like,
Nah, it's always celebrities.
I mean,
Celebrities.
it's it is harmful though, but it's like I can't feel any sympathy for him because it's like you knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, bro was on some
I don't
wild
think
shit
he
for that one.
anticipated reaching the White House, but
Yeah, I was about to
was
say it reached
insane.
the White House, and the
That's-
guy who did it was bragging, "Oh, they'll never find me." Essentially,
Bro, he should
Bro,
have been
that's-
new.
Bro,
The
they found
Swifties
him
are super
immediately. That was
powerful, bro.
crazy. They
That's
found
the
bro
part that really
immediately.
got me. Like the White House, like they've been making AI porn.
Bro.
Like, bro, you know how much Scarlett Johansson I've seen? Like,
You admit this is crazy.
Bro,
This
tell
is
me
crazy.
why.
You
Somebody
really
just
stated-
dropped. Hold up, Squid.
Mhm.
There's now an AI Taylor Swift with her boyfriend pic at the hospital with a black baby.
what?
Oh, wait a minute. Is this reference
No.
to Baltimore?
Oh,
Oh, that's actually wild.
Bro,
That's
Oh, by the way, Ravens are gonna kill the Chiefs. Oh, yeah, that's happening. Bet 30 on it.
yo, MHA about to be on chapter 40. 40.
MHA, bro, like I think we're still here for most of the year.
40 volumes. That's quite the collection, yo.
Like we're a few chapters into volume 41 now.
the new volume's March, right?
April.
Yeah,
Oh, April. Okay,
April.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
this
see
is
the
perfect.
cover for
Sue
that
posted
one.
it earlier. I saw.
I'm so
I-
excited.
I'm in a couple chats and they speculated like, oh, is All for One going to be on the cover? I'm going to be honest, I don't think he will be because
Horikoshi don't like that, man.
he doesn't put him on
Right.
covers because I think it's to reinforce that like he's kind of like he's hollow on the inside, like he's kind of like a non-person. He's more like something of an entity. Although I could also see it because like that is the volume where All for One kind of admits to like some of his more human traits and emotions. I could see him being drawn on the cover at last.
I'm not gonna lie, I would like to see a colored rewind for one on a volume.
I agree.
Maybe with Bakugo.
Yeah, I'd like to see Deku and Bakugo kind of like back to back fighting Deku and Shigaraki. I mean, fighting Shigaraki and All for One.
Agreed.
I think that would be cool.
It was either Iron Might, but like I don't think Iron Might will get a cover because we got All Might in the last one.
Yeah, I don't think Iron Might is going to be in it. Well, actually,
He could be the spine, Iron Might.
actually, Annika, you brought this up before. Covers, Horikoshi's covers are normally about what the start of the volume is, and the start of volume is all Iron Might.
If we should have what 199.
I wouldn't mind an Iron Might and Rewind for one cover. Come on,
I think
that'd be heat.
That'd be heat, yeah.
As long as All for One is on it a little bit, because
could
the
also-
rewind, you can't waste
could
the
also
prime
be-
design.
It could also be All Might and Bakugo because we haven't really gotten something about that.
And
He
All Might,
he did save him. He did save his life. He
All
did.
Might passing on the gauntlet. Like,
that'd be a crazy good volume cover, actually.
yeah. And I feel like Bakugo needs, like, look, you can't have Bakugo's last cover be with him literally dead. Like, Deku trying to keep his guts inside his chest, like, you bastard.
Yeah,
Can I say
that wouldn't
something?
spoil him coming back though for volume readers.
Can I say something that's like very controversial?
no.
Or just biased. I think
No.
it'd be really funny because, like, obviously Uraraka never got a volume cover aside from, with her and the crew. It'd be really funny if Bakugo's last one was him dead. Justice.
Justice.
Honestly, you know what I'm waiting for?
Mhm.
When
What?
Horikoshi, and by Horikoshi I mean Shueisha, goes into the scumbag route and finally starts releasing variant covers. I want to pay, like, do it.
They're
Yeah,
gonna do
honestly,
that.
Just fucking do it.
They're
That'd
gonna
be
do
kinda
that. They've
cool.
already started digital colorings of MHA chapters. I'm gonna tell, like, just like they did for Dragon Ball, they are eventually going to release those in color because especially for MHA, it's like it's been their top seller for years and only
Mhm.
recently have sales died down, and that's specifically because volumes don't come out as often and everybody's already caught up on backlogs.
Like,
Right
do
now,
it.
right now it's Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Double
Just
X is a series.
wait till it ends and the anime comes back. And the movie this summer, the sales always spike for the movies.
Yeah.
Bro, this is like I've been seeing Uta on Twitter going through the series. This is such a legendary binge,
Mhm.
honestly. Like this is
The
this is
end
such,
of MHA, that's the era we're in right now.
yeah,
Like
it's
just
such a
that ending.
it's such a good series to binge specifically because like you get a great variety of arcs. It's long, but it's also not extremely long like some other series. There's not a lot of filler.
All you have to be is invested. If you're invested, it's not too long.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the rule for anything, right? As long as you're actually
I
trying to
mean,
see.
when I read One Piece, like obviously it's a long series, but I was into it, so like it went by so fast. So yeah, if you're into it, if you're hyped, you're excited about the next
Yeah,
chapter.
if you're one of
Yeah.
those people who be on Twitter talking about some, oh, this is such a slog to read through, then stop.
Mhm.
Stop. Stop reading.
Yeah,
Please.
just wait a bit. People be
You don't
taking
even
that
have
like someone shot them. Like people saying, "Oh, just take a break."
just
All
don't.
right, just
Bro,
take a
I
break.
remember I would tell people, like, you might need to just drop the series if it makes you this angry. Because, like, nah, I'm not gonna name him, but I remember talking to, like, I was talking, somebody was like, I'm not naming the person because I'm not trying to, like, get them, like, people going after them or anything like that. But they were like, my dad died and blah blah blah, and I was like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying this comic seems to make you really angry, and if the story makes you that angry, you should probably just let it go.
Mhm.
Because, like, that's not the point. Like, that's not a good usage of your free time.
But it's also like you want to also stay it's also like, health is the most important thing at the end of the day. More than entertainment, more than whatever money you're making. So it's like if you're like actively experiencing like worse emotional like health because of whatever's going on in this
Especially if
story,
you
like
you
genuinely you
staying
should
up
quit.
late to read leaks and shit,
Mhm.
messing with your sleep patterns.
Yeah,
And
like
that was the
don't
thing is that,
destroy like you're shortening your lifespan for something that is optional entirely. Don't do that. Health is
they
the most
also thought I knew about their life. I was like, bro, I'm just saying, like, for your own mental health, take a break. If it stresses you out, don't. It's like it's an optional story. And they're like, you're
You
trying to
know,
push us out of the fandom. And I'm like, what? Bro, nobody's
you
trying to
know what?
kick you out of a fandom. Like,
You know what's crazy about growing up reading manga? It's like you could really be angry about something, like really angry, and then like 5 chapters will come out and you would not care anymore about what
Yeah.
happened. Like you really, you really gotta just wait for stuff to end. Like in certain conflicts, certain like, because people be mad about specific things too. That's what kills me. Like people will say an entire chapter is bad because of one line. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm
yo,
like,
that
did
that
everything else that
line.
happened after and before like just get negated because of one bad like moment? It's the same with arcs. Well, this arc is trash because one character punched another character. I think that was bad. No, you're discrediting everything that came before and after. Now, if it was a constant problem in the arc, I get that.
Not Kaiser saying I know who you're talking about.
He's on to you, Anarchy.
We need Kaiser on this stream once. I want Kaiser here one day.
Yeah, but Kaiser is
That is my favorite Australian.
Yeah, I was to say,
He's either
Kaiser can come
asleep.
on. He's just over in Australia, so
Yeah.
I
He's either
thought-
asleep
I
or
thought
Damn, what that mean?
I talked to Kaiser.
we're
a fair
17
bit.
hours apart.
Yeah.
I talked to Kaiser a fair bit. We chat a lot about
Yeah, he
MHA and
he
Z
comes in
go.
and
Kaiser Phoenix or the other Kaiser on Twitter?
yeah.
No, not that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to specify just in case.
Both Kaisers are cool. They're dope.
Know the other one like that. I just know that my Australian is my favorite one.
Yeah, so y'all
Like-
see the way Aizawa got his fist balled up in that panel where he threw the papers back? I think Bakugo got smacked after that.
Yes. He got
Also,
a fucking
like,
hit with the
I expect
his vein,
eyelids.
his vein is popping out in that panel.
And for Kaiser knowing who I was talking about, I expect some people to know who I'm talking about. Tarnish specifically should know who I'm talking about.
I talked to
But-
Kaiser. I talked to Kaiser a lot about
Yeah.
RPGs and stuff. So
I might know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm
Kaiser's
not-
the
so-
best to talk about.
I'm not
with
thinking about
RPGs.
it that hard right now, but I probably
I know
will.
Volk knows this person, but Volk is glad to not interact with this person. That's how it works out.
oh. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
I was thinking we head towards wrap up, by the way.
Yeah,
So,
I've said all that I have to, and I've kind of got something I need to do today. So,
Yep.
Can I start?
yes.
Okay. So, ultimately, just a setup chapter, but a really nerve-wracking setup chapter because this is getting to a lot of our questions about where Deku is going to end up into the series, and it brings up like a lot of potential endings for him. First and foremost, like, is he going to be quirkless? That is a possibility. I don't think that's where things are going because it just doesn't seem to really gel with a lot of what's set up. Either way, I think he's going to stay with powers of some kind. It's also really cool that Star keeps being relevant. Like, people criticized her appearance and be like, she was killed off for nothing. It's like, well, no, what she was doing had a very specific purpose, and it's going to be letting Deku do his thing. And I love how it's inspired very much by the Death Star Trench Run. A lot of those Star Wars influences still shining through. Like, more than anybody, I think Deku is inspired personality-wise and character arc-wise by Luke Skywalker. And Luke's whole arc during that original trilogy is like is to attain a sort of enlightenment, like become one with the Force. Like, he wins by choosing not to kill his father. And he breaks that cycle and he puts his faith in remaining goodness, and he ends up succeeding because of it, because he trusted in the greater in the greater scheme of things for the universe. I don't know how exactly that translates to MHA. I don't think it's going to be one-to-one, but I think you're going to see a lot of those elements come into play. Shigaraki as well. He was kind of hovering this chapter, so I think he's just kind of gauging things. He doesn't quite know what Deku's going to do. Deku also, like, that new form, absolutely badass, awesome. I'm curious to see what exactly the focus on his hand is. Like, is he going to form the all-for-one holes in his palms? Is something about the transferring quirk itself that forms the basis of all this? Like, is that going to change? We're going to get into, like, some more of the mystical and cerebral kind of stuff here. And I don't quite know how exactly it all wraps up, but I'm here for it. Like you guys mentioned, like maybe I'm not too thrilled with the ending, but it's not like I'm going to come away with it like, this series is trash. It's like, well, no, like I've loved so much of it, and I'm always going to come back to it to some degree. I'm just here to see however Horikoshi chooses to wrap this up, because he has a vision, he has an idea, he's going to stick to it. I think we already saw elements of this during Heroes Rising, I think he's kind of taken a lot of that ending and he's channeled it into ways that better make sense. So, however this ends up, I'm gonna be present for it. I'm gonna keep up. Thank you all for having me as always, and I'll talk to you next time.
Sero, well, let's go with Coyote.
Oh man, I'm so happy with this chapter. It's leading up to my favorite ending for my hero ever spoken to me. I was talking with the boys about this. I can't wait for the burger flipping Deku and cucked arc for Deku. I want Bakugo to end up with Ochako while he's flipping burgers. I need this ending spoken into existence. The cucked Deku arc. I
This
want
is why you're
this.
not writing the series.
Coyote's a bad person, everybody. Just we got that confirmed.
If I'm bad, what is Emmett Thomas? Ugh. I haven't even spoken the other allegations on him. But yeah, I need the burger flipping ending. Overall, pretty solid chapter. Read Baki. That is it.
Squid, final thoughts?
The fight's progressing, I guess, the way I kind of expected. In terms of the whole like just quirks being taken. Until I guess it's just Deku with super strength versus Shigaraki. Shigaraki is looking clean. And Bakugo's an explosion merchant, and without his quirk, he wouldn't be flipping burgers. He'd be like a janitor. He'd be cleaning up, buildings and stuff like that on minimum wage. So yeah. Also, Tokoyami top 3. Shoto is still a bum. He can't box. And Koda should have been aborted. That's simple. 7 out of 10.
Whoa. Chill on my goat. First off.
Ravens win the Super Bowl. Let's go.
Joseph.
All right. This chapter was mostly set up, but it was still good. I'm really interested to see how this plan works into action. And I'm glad that he's still keeping Black Whip at least for now, and hopefully I don't know if he's gonna get any and all the quirks back, but if he has to lose all but Black Whip, I would consider that worth it.
All right. Let's see. Thomas.
Hello. I was about to say something in chat. This chapter, fantastic. I'm really happy with seeing Deku like have a moment to be selfish. Which is, it highlights how human he is. Aside from that, I'm just really curious to see what Deku does. I don't know if One for All will evolve for him to get that hole in his palm. Or if like One for All gets to a point where Deku can forcefully hand over quirks or de-quirk. Overall, fantastic chapter. Can't wait for the next one, but we're on break week, which sucks. And that's it. Stay safe, everyone.
Tarnish.
I feel like everything that's had to been said has been said, but still, pretty good setup chapter. I like how the page count hasn't been going down. Horikoshi had those periods where it was coming out with 9 and 11 pages. We've been at a steady pace of 15. It's been good. Enough for, enough story to pass by. I don't want a quirkless ending, but I'll be honest. I'm open to it. The cuck ending, like the thing about the cuck ending is that it's like, are you really the greatest hero if you got cucked at the end? But
I mean, that can be debated.
Nah, for real though. Like, I'm open to a quirkless ending. It just depends on how Horikoshi writes it. Like, he still has to make the rest of the story worth it to have gotten to that point.
Shoto would be working at the chum bucket if it weren't for his eugenics ass quirk.
Soto is a metaphor for white supremacy.
Oh,
But
that's
anyways,
actually crazy. I mean, the way he was talking to that dog chief, I don't know. I feel
yo,
like he had a clan hood or two when he was going.
yo, that
Whatever.
man
You
said,
know me.
that you know how wild it is, like in
He
hindsight,
basically
that he
told him
dead
the
ass.
N-word to his face and he did nothing about it. That's kind of crazy.
Yo, in universe, he really did though. Like
Hey,
the
man.
mutant discrimination is a thing, yo. That was crazy. Like,
He
and he
really
was,
said, he
and
really
he gave him a
said, "Where
pardon.
is your manager?"
And he was the
Like he
manager.
was
Yeah.
and like he was a cashier at a convenience store or a employee at
Tono
a
was like, I know
restaurant.
this isn't the manager. Go get a human.
So you're the
Go fetch me
lackey.
my slippers. That's crazy. He really said that though.
Oh, listen. Just let Deku keep Black Whip. End of the day, that's all I need. Hey, I'm done though. Good laugh. Good laugh.
Showed up
All right.
showed you a coon as well, but we ain't gonna get into that.
He is.
Hey, I appreciate everybody that came through. From the people in the chat to the people on the call. I'm not gonna try to do the name game this time because y'all not gonna catch me slipping.
But what about me?
Wait,
Not
what?
me.
No. End it.
Hold up.
End it.
You know what? This is what I get for relying on Zooms. Wait.
Hmm?
Wait, what the hell?
Well, what is it?
No,
What?
Coyote, Thomas, Squid, Volt, Tarnish, Joseph. Who said what about me?
No.
Exactly. Just end it. Just end it.
Fucking
Fair
trolls. All
Shout
right.
out to shout out to Seth too, because you just said
Yeah.
everybody's name.
Yeah, Seth
so
is
might as
yeah,
well.
exactly.
You forgot about him.
No.
Wow.
He was reading the names. Okay, he didn't miss him intentionally. He was just reading what he saw. I'm just saying.
Oh wait,
Whoever
Thomas
did-
actually went. Oh, I thought we were.
What?
Boo this man. Boo.
Damn, I thought
yeah,
Thomas
yeah.
didn't go. I was
I
wanting to skip
should
him, man.
I should be off the next time a chapter comes out too, so I should be back next stream too.
Oh, perfect.
Beginning
go.
or like near the back half.
Nah, like I should be there. Like
Let's fucking go.
it depends on when I want to drop in. You know, I'll be
Look.
waking up late. I'll be waking up late.
My streams start towards lunch / late niggas waking up breakfast time. So Tarnish be eating
Yeah.
at the beginning of half the time, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
It's
I'll be
low-key
hopping
kind
in,
of,
bro.
you know what's crazy? Like sometimes there's just dudes who's just angry even in the morning, and that's crazy to me. Like if I
Make up
had
their own
breakfast,
business.
yeah, I don't feel like I could be angry. Like frustrated, sure, but like active,
Breakfast is the most
enraged,
important meal of the
that's wild.
day.
But yeah. Y'all take care. We'll see you in 2
Passes.
weeks. We enjoy your presence. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
No, see, I was gonna say thank you for your time and have a